From Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station live from the Comcast Business Studios. 97.5, The Fanatic. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas. This is Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5, The Fanatic, and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Well, it feels like it's been 10 years, but we finally have Phillies baseball back tonight as they begin their unofficial second half to the season. We get into a discussion of what was real and what was not during the first half, and just a bomb drop of news of where the Sixers could be playing one day down the road. We'll get into it. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
This year, the 2024 Phillies rotation has pitched better than the 2011 Four Aces rotation.
And it's been a bunch of years since the team has had 3 pitchers with 10 wins before the All-Star break. This is historic.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Fanatic Friday. Philadelphia man Andrew Salciunas alongside my man John Kincade. Johnny, happy Friday.
What a gorgeous day it was when we walked in out of the parking lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, you and I got there right at the exact same time. We're walking in and we both said the same thing. It feels like football weather, man.
It's gorgeous. And we only have, 6 weeks left of summer, so enjoy it while you can.
Absolutely.
Way too cold.
No,
I need
99 again. Dude, it was
not
nice.
cold.
No, it was not cold. It was nice. It was refreshing. I drove with the windows down. I didn't need.
So did I this morning.
I didn't need AC at 4:30 in the morning, Connor.
I was shivering.
This is a good thing. I appreciated the weather this morning. I love the summer. I love the heat.
Now,
I want to be comfortable.
Are you one of those air conditioner freaks that blows the air conditioner on you with the windows down? I am not.
In the beginning, to get some
that's
fresh air in
right.
the car.
And then you stop.
No, and then I
right.
stop.
Okay,
yeah.
so do I.
No,
that's exactly
come on,
what
man.
I do.
I'm like,
yeah, but I know
psychotic.
freaks that do that.
Yeah, Jamie Lynch.
Yes, he's
come
one of those
man.
freaks.
I'm not a psycho.
That's the truth.
All right, so the Phillies are back in action tonight. It feels like it's been forever. It's crazy. The All-Star break during a 10-year playoff drought is welcomed. The All-Star break during a Phillies season where they're setting franchise records is aggravating and disappointing because you want to watch them. You miss them. You love watching them every single night, no matter who's on the bump, from Zach Wheeler to Christopher Sanchez to bullpen games. It doesn't matter. You want to see this Phillies team play every single night. That's how good they've been this year. That's how much fun they've been this year. But we want to get into a conversation. You pitched it yesterday, and I love this kind of discussion of what was real and what was not so real during the first half of the season, or what can sustain, because I think that's been a question that we've had a lot as the season's progressed. Can this be sustained? This kind of success by the starting pitching, this kind of success with the lineup, this kind of winning. So we'll get into that today, and we'd love your input on it at 610-632-0975. You can text it. You can call in your answers. You can also check us out on social media. But we're going to get into it today. What was real and what was not during the first half of the season?
And again, this is not a negative topic.
No.
It is not we're not expecting things, but I will tell you right off the bat, and some may take it negatively. There is no way the first half pace can be sustained.
What, a 65% win percentage?
There's no way it can be sustained, not with the schedule they have, the challenges that they've got. No, I do not believe that first half pace, that doesn't mean that 6 out of 10 wins can't be sustained.
Right.
And I fully expect 59% wins or something along those lines. But sustaining the first half pace, it's unrealistic. And honestly, I hope they don't have to. I hope they have the ability to say, if they want to go to a 6-man at some point,
right,
rotation, if they want to say, hey, we're going to skip Wheeler or skip Nola during a time, that they have the luxury to do so. And we wake today with a magic number of 59.
Which is unbelievable.
Which is unreal. And if they even go into the month of August in the 40s with their magic number, it could be a cruise to the division title.
Yeah, it could be. Now, I want to say this. I think it's too harsh of a word to say unrealistic.
Okay. Why? Because you look at it as...
You said the schedule ahead of them. Yeah. Those teams see the Phillies coming into town, too, or they see that they have to go to Philadelphia, too. I mean, this Phillies team, it's not like they've played 81 games on the dot, right? And this is now the second half of the season.
That is correct.
They did this over 96 games, dude.
They did. The difference being, though, This, like we talked about the gauntlets, and they, by the way, they got through the first gauntlet pretty well
with a lot of players out.
They did. The first 9-game gauntlet they got through, and they came through with a winning record.
Right.
Which is what we said. You come through with a winning record on the gauntlet section of your schedule, even if it's 5-4.
Yeah.
You're happy about it. This is a little different one, in my opinion, what they've got coming up, and it is the 19 games that is around the corner is pretty impressive. If you say, coming up next week, it starts at the Twins, Guardians, Yankees.
It's tough.
And then a 10-game road trip at the Mariners, at the Dodgers, at the Diamondbacks. That is a 19-game stretch where if you give me 10-9, I say,
I'll take it. Yeah.
Done. Because this team has put themselves in a position, Andrew, where it doesn't matter.
Dude, if they go, game lead over the Braves right now.
If they go 10-9, they're going to be just fine. And if they go better, we're going to say, man, that was a hell of a run.
And you know what's amazing? We keep on saying 8.5 game lead over the Braves, right? Because that's the first thing you look at is your division lead.
That's what you should look at first.
Man, they got 6 more wins than the Dodgers. Like,
Correct.
if we're talking 1 seed, if we're saying that is a legitimate goal that we want the Phillies to accomplish, obviously top 2 seeds so that you can get that first round bye and have home field advantage.
Yes.
But if you can have the first seed, you have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, just like an NFL term, right?
Yes.
You have 6 more wins than the LA Dodgers right now. That's a big deal.
I honestly can't. If you had said to me the Phillies would be 6 games up on the entire field of the National League at the All-Star break, I would have bet almost anything I owned that they could not have done that.
Right.
So maybe I am underestimating them a little bit.
Right, that's why I don't want to say it's almost impossible for them to achieve it.
But I said
or
it's
unrealistic. Sorry, unrealistic is the word.
I do think it's unrealistic to think they'll be 6 games up on the field, let's say, heading into September. I think it's a lot to ask.
It's a ton to ask.
These next 6 weeks are a kick in the privates. It's tough. It is tough. But hey, they have surprised us before, and they could surprise us again.
Well, all right. So let's turn it that way too, instead of what was real and what was not real. What was some of the things that was most surprising to you from the first half? And I'll give you mine.
What is your number one?
Look, I do like the depth of this team, right? Like, I liked the Whit Merrifield signing. He's no longer on the baseball team.
That made me smile, by the way, when I was away.
Cody Clemens, I like him as a bench piece. He was hurt at times. Like, you had to legitimately start games with David Dahl in your outfield, a guy who is he DFA'd now? He's no longer on the team, right? There are a lot of guys that are no longer on this team that had to start X amount of games. We got into the Rojas debates for months, right? Christian Pache, in the games that he started, did absolutely nothing for you offensively, less than what Johan Rojas was doing. Even though I still like the depth on this team, the fact that they won as many games as they did,
with those kind of
6 weeks without Trey Turner, the amount of games they've missed without Bryce Harper, the amount of games they missed with Kyle Schwarber, the amount of games they've missed with JT Realmuto. 5 of their starting 9 have actually missed a lot of time. Maybe not all at once.
No, but they've missed a lot of time.
But they've missed a lot of time, and it shows to you that they do have the pieces when called upon to step up and still play well. Edmundo Sosa did a lot during his time filling in for Trey Turner. If you asked me, I need that sort of formula to continue for another 80 games. I wouldn't feel necessarily as great. But the fact that they were able to get through 96 games and win 62 of them with a combination of Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, and others missing as much time as they did, that is probably one of the biggest surprises for me during the first half. Connor?
Yeah, I think I've got to go with the strength of what this team was in the first half and say the pitching in the starting rotation. There's no way that's sustainable to that level. And we've already kind of seen cracks.
With Ranger, yeah.
Zach Wheeler's got a weird back thing. Ranger Suarez has a weird back thing. I don't think either of them are overly serious, but you're looking at guys that are already having some nagging things. Spencer Turnbull's still on the injured list. Taijuan Walker's still on the injured list. You feel a little bit thinner today than you thought you were going to be in the starting rotation, and I don't think that's going to hurt their ability to compete. I think that's going to hurt their want to compete. I think Rob Thomson is going to look at that, and Dave Dombrowski, Sam Fuld, and John Middleton and say, hey, 6-man rotation sooner rather than later. a week off for one of these guys sometimes, skipping a start here and there. You have the luxury of doing that. So I think naturally the pitching won't be as good simply because you won't need it to be, and sustaining health is going to be more important to this team the rest of the way than sustaining performance.
Are you at the a level of concern about the Wheeler thing?
No,
I'm
not really.
I'm
It's just
not.
like
I sort of am. I think that I do believe they've fibbed to us.
I think they're just giving him extra. They're giving him extra time. They skipped the start, and they're not pitching him this series, so they're giving him a little extra time. And I think, and look, the last couple of years, the Phillies have actually done a tremendous job at resetting the rotation for the second half of the season. They've done a tremendous job. Remember, 2 years ago, they had to deal with Zach Wheeler missing a month, and they were still able to not miss a beat. I think they just probably did this strategically where they saw what off days would Zach Wheeler get an extra off day. Remember, Aaron Nola was getting an extra off day 2 years ago. They made it. I think he ended up being the third starter out of the All-Star game. It wasn't because of performance. It was because it worked out with the extra off day for him. Zach Wheeler likes pitching on normal rest. Aaron Nola, it seems like, would appreciate an extra day's rest every once in a while with the amount of innings that he pitches and continuously pitches, right? It's not like he misses time.
No, he's a workhorse.
So I think it was more strategy for the Phillies than fibbing.
I think this has surprised them. I believe it's surprised them that they have had to push Wheeler back another week by pushing him back. I don't believe that was the plan. I don't think their plan was, let's push him back another week.
Yeah, but it doesn't lead me to any major concern because
Right.
I know that where this team stands right now, they're going to take the uber cautious approach on anything that happens with the guy they're going to need.
What were we just saying about...
and by the way, that makes great sense.
What were we just saying about Harper and Schwarber before the All-Star break?
Don't play him until after the All-Star break.
I did not want them to play
I did
the
not
Dodgers.
either.
And look, they swept the Dodgers, which was freaking awesome, right? And having the three, even though Harper only played 2 of the games because he missed game 2.
He got injured again.
But I did not want those guys to come back until after the All-Star break. I said, all right, take your lumps against the Dodgers. You're still the better team against the A's. And, of course, that's the team that you actually lose the series to. You sweep the Dodgers, you lose 2 or 3 to the A's. But I said that about Schwarber and Harper. I'll say the exact same thing about Zach Wheeler if I need to say it about Ranger Suarez. And it's because of what you talked about, John. You talked about the luxury of the 8.5-game lead over the Braves, the 6-game lead over the Dodgers, in terms of being able to lose a couple games here and there. You have that same exact luxury for being able to be cautious with some of the players on the team.
One of the things, and you do say it, is that no matter any critique I've got strategy-wise of Rob Thomson, his strategy of long-term view,
it's been great.
I think it's as good as maybe I've ever seen as far as a manager looking at things long-term, understanding what's worth risking, what's not. He's done a great job. So I'm not gonna question it, but I am gonna tell you, I'm when I see back stuff, I'm a little wonky on my big picture.
Yeah.
Because Ranger Suarez, I have major concern about.
I get it. Listen, as a back injury survivor recently, I know how much that can be a sticking point for guys. But here's the thing. Like, let's say, worst case scenario, because we still have a ways to go before we get to baseball that matters for the Phillies. They're going to be playing in October. Worst case, if it is a month or something, and I don't think that's what either of these injuries are, you can survive that. You will be okay. And if that's the decision they make, I think you have enough strength on this roster to still be in a great spot when everything's all said and done in the regular season. So concern is hard to have about a team with this big of a lead.
I'm going to tell you right now, do you feel if Rangers not right before the trade deadline, do you not want another starting arm?
No.
Oh, I do.
I wouldn't be.
Seriously do.
I wouldn't be
Who's
surprised.
your game 3 starter?
Oh well, no, he'll be back.
He's going to be.
He'll be back on playoff time.
We don't. Okay, you speak of that confidently.
Yes,
he's not. His innings doesn't speak to that of his career. I can't speak to that confidently. Do I think I've seen enough of him the last few years that I go, especially at crunch time, that I trust him? But is he healthy, and is he used to the workload? I don't know what Christopher Sanchez is going to do with the workload.
Right.
If he goes out. I don't know what he's going to look like in September with the workload he's had. I don't know what Ranger's going to look. I already know I don't know what Ranger's going to look like.
Sanchez is on pace to throw like 25 more innings than he has in one single year in his career. That's not enough to be overly concerned about.
Ranger might blow it out of the water though, because he's at 114
he's
innings.
going to.
114 innings already. His most innings pitched was in 2022, where he threw 155 and a third.
Unless you shut him down for a couple weeks and go to a 6-man rotation.
Which they could do that. And
yeah,
by
but
the
then
way,
you're not going to. Then you're going to have Wheeler, who on 3 different times has spoken out against the organization.
I got you.
When they have said you're getting more rest, and he has not pitched well, by the way, with extra rest. He does not like it. He does
2
not
years
like
ago,
it.
when he didn't like it,
Well, they shut him down. They shut him down for 3.5 weeks.
Right, but then
That's
also
different.
But they also did the 6-man rotation or the extra day rest, and then come playoff time when they went back to a normal rotation, he was the best pitcher in the world again.
Right, but he had the 3 weeks rest. That's different than asking him to pitch out of his normal routine.
normal
I'd rather have annoyed, healthy Zach Wheeler than no Zach Wheeler.
Right,
Okay.
me too. So, but here's the thing. I wouldn't completely put it out of question that they could trade for a starter, and not a starter like
No.
Corbin Burns.
A back end.
Right,
I
like-
don't think so at all.
Okay.
Wow, I got to tell you, I'm almost expecting it.
See, here's the thing.
I honestly am. I'm almost
You
expecting
need 2 outfield spots. One of those guys is probably going to be a starter. That's going to be an expensive item to go out there and get. And then you're probably going to need another bench bat that can play the outfield that other teams are going to be interested in. And then you're going to add to the bullpen because every team adds a reliever at the deadline. You're looking at
but
4 guys.
One of these trades could be.
But we're talking about
you get an added arm as a part of the trade. The big name outfielder's the big marquee person on the trade. It's like Cliff Lee. You trade for Cliff Lee, but you also got Ben Francisco. Why can't it be the other way around where you get the big starter outfielder, but then you also get this 4th guy in the rotation?
And I don't expect a big starter to be returned. I expect it to be
like a center guard,
Jared
like
Lorenzen.
a couple of years ago.
A Jared Lorenzen.
Michael Lorenzen.
A Michael Lorenzen type, not the hefty lefty. I'm thinking that's going to be something like that. A back end of the rotation veteran. I'm almost going to tell you right now, I think you can book it.
I'd be very, very surprised.
I'm
Well,
going to.
why are you surprised if right now it's Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Sanchez? Like you said, Walker's still on the injured list. Turnbull's still banged up.
Yes.
So who else are you throwing?
Tyler Phillips, Michael Mercado. You can
In a playoff series?
No.
No, but I'm saying
regular
to you,
season games.
But you have
These
to
guys, none of the guys you acquire at the trade deadline. If you acquire a starter, there's a 0% chance they start a game in the postseason.
Right.
No,
but they might.
no. There is not. Because we saw it a couple years
Oh, yeah,
ago.
Syndergaard did
you may
start.
need you see a Syndergaard had 2 starts, if not 2.
That
He
team's
had
third
2
pitcher was like Zach Eflin,
I
wasn't
understand,
it?
but he had 2 starts.
Oh, he was the closer.
Eflin was
Well, they
closing.
moved
Yeah,
him
he was in the
'cause you
bullpen,
didn't have-
remember?
Because nobody could start
What
on
I'm
that
saying
team.
is that, but you had to at that point. I think it's assuming. Well, none of those guys they might start due to necessity. And the one thing is there's a great I think benefit to Dave Dombrowski saying his moves at the trade deadline are not about getting in. They're about positioning themselves to win a world championship. And I think that gives you a greater flexibility.
I'm just looking at last year when Christopher Sanchez made 1 start for 1 inning. And that was all he threw after a solid year as the 4th starter in that rotation. One of your starters didn't even touch the field. I don't think they're acquiring someone to start a game in the postseason. I don't think anyone
They
outside
acquired Lorenzen. He didn't pitch. He didn't start a game.
I don't think
Now, that was a
Wheeler's-
mistake, by the way.
I agree.
A mistake that they didn't do.
Sure, but this year I don't think anyone outside of Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, or Sanchez will start a postseason
I know. I'm not
game.
asking to make a trade for a guy that will start in the postseason.
Right, I'm not either.
I'm asking
I'm
for.
talking about a back end of the rotation guy.
Jason Vargas, right? Like these guys that the Phillies have acquired over the years, but they acquired it when they were making a push for the playoffs. They're already in the playoffs, right? You know what I'm saying. They're basically in the playoffs already. They just needed an extra arm that can go out there and pitch competitive baseball. And Mercado and Phillips might be able to do that. Well, we haven't seen Mercado really do that his last couple outings.
And I'll tell you, I'm telling you right now, here's a Sharpie. Book it.
He's booking
After this,
Okay.
after Wheeler with the back stuff.
Booking.com.
But Wheeler with the
Booking.com,
back
yeah,
stuff.
thank you.
Sanchez, Suarez with the back stuff. Write it with Sharpie. They get a back end of the rotation guy.
So yesterday was a big Eagles day on the show. Today's a big Phillies day. The Phillies resume play tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates, the unofficial second half of the season, a team that has the best record in the National League, a best record, how about in Major League Baseball?
That's a delicious
What was
thing.
real in the first half? What was surprising in the first half? What do you believe is sustainable and is not sustainable in the second half of the season? We're going to get into that all day today. You can climb in 610-632-0975. You can call into the show. You can text into the show. What we're going to get into next, we continue the Phillies talk. But there was a bombshell yesterday that dropped about potential future plans for the Philadelphia 76ers and their arena. Because remember, Arena Gate's been going on for a while now about the fashion district.
I smell a rat, too.
Huh?
I smell a rat in this story.
Oh. Well, the rat might be over the bridge. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. The Phillies resume Major League Baseball today, hopefully, with the
What do you mean?
Microsoft outage. I don't know. Maybe they won't be able to play baseball.
Everybody's here, so they don't have to worry about
Well,
it.
I'm
So there will be.
saying, will the pitch
They're
clock?
in
Will the
Pittsburgh.
pitch clock be able to work?
Well,
I
if
don't
the-
know what this Microsoft outage does.
That's a fair point. The scoreboard could be down.
Scoreboard FIP. How will I know the FIP, John?
Maybe
if they can't put the FIP on the screen.
No, in Pittsburgh, they're actually probably more smart with their screen, like the Cubs, and they actually show like batting average, on base percentage, and things that people freaking care about.
WXO Bacon. We
Oh my
learned.
gosh.
Remember, we learned that
We
one
did.
this year.
Yes, and I showed you what a Major League Baseball general manager thought of that.
Yeah,
He thought it was bull.
So does a pitching coach have to go back to the old pitch clicker to count how many pitches?
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, many of them still do it.
They probably do.
They don't count on a board.
Yeah.
Just out of routine.
In case you have no idea what the hell we're talking about, there is a major Microsoft outage. We don't know what is going on.
You mean a hack job?
Probably.
Probably a hack job.
A major Microsoft outage that is global, not just here in the United States. I saw India is being affected by it as well. So it's not like somebody just attacked the United States. This is something that's going on worldwide. All planes are grounded right now in major cities. Philadelphia International is not flying. So if you're headed to the airport right now, I'm sorry.
No, check in advance. Make sure you check in advance.
Well, yeah, I mean, your flight's not taking off.
No, it's
so,
not.
And you're going to be severely delayed because every flight that's delayed right now is going to be pushed for hours. So God bless you if you're traveling today. The first thing we said was, thank God you're back from Vegas.
Yes.
Thank God I'm back from Lithuania, because that would be I would be having a meltdown right now.
Now, you conspiracy theorist kind of person, or you
Yeah,
not?
I've seen a movie about this one time on Netflix, and the next thing they do is play a sound, and all the deer go crazy and attack you.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
good
look
thing
out
we're
for
good thing
deer.
we're indoors.
Okay,
That's a good.
what movie is that?
I forget what it's called. It's some new Netflix movie. Mahershala Ali's in it.
It's
good.
It's called Dumb.
And the deer, yes, it is.
Yeah.
And the
That's
deer,
what the movie's called.
deer start attacking you. That's crazy.
I
Yeah,
think
it's a
it's like
ridiculous
Ethan
movie.
Hawke and Kevin Bacon's in it too. You got some
Really?
some
So
heavy hitters in that movie.
Havertown's own Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, so it's called Dumb. All right, so if you're just tuning in and you drive safely, travel safely, whatever, and if you're who knows
Watch
what you
for
can,
the deer,
Who knows?
according
Who
to
knows?
Connor.
We're even on the air right now. I'm just gonna keep on rolling. I might just start cursing to see if anybody actually
No.
catches it.
No.
All right, so the Phillies' second half of the season starts tonight. What was real? What was not? What can be sustained that you saw in the first half? What might not be able to be sustained in the second half of the season? We talked about the dominance of the pitching staff. Can they sustain that in the second half? Probably not, especially when they're already dealing with some injuries. Zach Wheeler pushing his start a little bit. Who knows when Ranger Suarez gets back on the mound? That's going to be something very difficult to continue. But one of my things was the depth of this team. I don't think they can continue to win if they're missing 3 or 4 guys out of their starting lineup. But to the team's credit, they are 62-34 because of that depth. As much as we complain about Merrifield, and as much as we are still complaining about Pache, as much as I complain about David Dahl, as much as we've complained about platooning, they keep on winning baseball games, man. It's unbelievable.
It's been absolutely masterful by, and again, Rob Thomson. There's things I don't like that he does. His handling of 162 is almost impeccable.
It's been amazing.
It's really he has a great approach to the long-term view, and that is something that a lot of managers don't have.
Now, let me ask you guys this question. And this is something that I think you, John, have scoffed at.
Okay.
And I agree with you. I don't want to make it seem like I'm putting you on an island here. We celebrated earlier in the year the fact that the Phillies were blowing away teams in terms of outings where the starting pitcher went at least 7 innings.
Yes.
We reached the All-Star break, and Wheeler's dealing with something. Suarez is dealing with something. You just talked about being concerned about Christopher Sanchez's workload. Is this one of those situations where it's like you want to have your cake and eat it too? Like you want these guys to pitch 7 innings every single night because it rests your bullpen, but then you get to late July, you get to August, and maybe they're a little fatigued?
I don't believe that's what we're looking at here.
Okay.
But it definitely is something where you hope that, look, I want my starters to go as far as they can, as long as they can, when they can. I'm not concerned about that at all. But I could absolutely understand where somebody else is going. See?
This is what I was talking
But
about. Right.
I'm going to tell you this. I would rather get to the postseason with a fresher bullpen than a fresher rotation.
I completely disagree.
I want both.
No. I want both. I want both too.
No, but I think
Dynamite drop in,
no,
guys.
but seriously, I think that's been a problem with the Phillies the last 2 years. I think the bullpen has been fatigued come playoff time.
It's been overused,
especially when there have been planned outings, which they worked in the game itself, where Suarez would pitch 3 innings, and then the bullpen would go the next 6, right? And it worked. But then later down the line, they may be a little bit more fatigued. Now it looks like the rotation might be fatigued. You don't want to be down 2-0 early on, John, especially in the playoffs.
You don't, but I absolutely believe we have seen example upon example where teams did not have superior starting pitching, but have had incredible matchup bullpens.
Yeah.
And I think this bullpen could be an incredible matchup bullpen come September and October.
I get what you're saying, but the bullpen, as the greatest bullpen in the history of baseball, cannot take runs off the board. If they're taking over down 4-1 because your starting pitching is gassed by the time you get there, like the starting pitching is infinitely more important in the postseason than the bullpen. It is.
Wow, I'm going to tell you, I don't believe that. I really don't. I believe that it is, especially with an offense like this. You can have starting pitching that is not, and I'm not talking about starting pitching that is getting out there. Look, if we saw slippage with the Phillies starting pitching, we'd be talking about those guys having a 3.5 or a 4 ERA. I think they could survive it with a superior bullpen.
See, now
with this offense.
I'll say this. Unless there's history and statistics and fact to back any of it up, I don't think there is a right answer. That's why I said I'd rather have both. I know it's a cop-out answer, but...
Well, that is a cop-out.
I know, but I think about the 2008 Phillies, right? They were not a dominant rotation.
They were not.
No. That bullpen of Romero, the bridge to Lidge, Ryan Madsen, Brad Lidge, if you got through 5 innings with that rotation, you were fine.
If you
had a lead through 5, you were fine because of the arms coming out of that bullpen, even down to Scott Air and Clay Condrey, right? Like, I don't think Clay Condrey pitched in the playoffs. I think Scott Air did. But those guys, as long as you got to the 5th inning with a lead, you were fine with that team. But then there are other I think it's just the way a team's built.
When the Phillies' best starting rotations have not led to them having their best runs. It's having a matchup situational bullpen, and by the way, and having a superior offense. Having a really
big deal.
You got to have a really, really good offense, and I think that's where and I think that's what this team is more built for.
But then, like the Astros, for example,
their bullpen was amazing.
Yeah, their bullpen was amazing, but so was their starting pitching.
Yeah, but that was
they had both.
Yeah, they had both.
Yeah, but their bullpen was absolutely what was carrying that team.
They did have a guy throw a no-hitter.
They did, but their bullpen is what carried that team. Their bullpen was absolutely I think it was their biggest weapon. I mean, they had 5 arms in the bullpen that was as good as any team had in baseball. And
but I mean, like, let's look at how the 2023 Braves got knocked out. They're a good comparison for the 2024 Phillies.
Their bullpen was trash.
Their bullpen was trash, but it didn't matter because you smoked their starters. You were up early on that team every single time you won a game. The Phillies weren't coming from behind in any of those games. They were jumping on you. In a playoff game, getting up early is so hugely important. And if your starters are gassed, I don't care if you have a great bullpen.
Right.
You could be down 3-0. The offense could just not produce. And we've seen this offense had spots in the postseason in the NLCS where they didn't produce. And, like, I'd rather have a starter give you 4 or 5 strong innings for the offense to feel less pressure than to have guys give up 3 runs and then hope
you don't
the
want to
bullpen
always
holds
no,
you.
exactly. That's why I was saying to John earlier, like, you don't want to go down 2-0 in a playoff game. But I don't think there's a right answer, honestly. I really don't. I think you could say either one and make a legitimately compelling case, and then you guys can argue till you're blue in the face, which is why I go cop-out and say I want both.
I think there's more examples recently in baseball of teams that have been winning with their bullpens, with having the most strategic bullpen, than having dominant starters carry them to a world championship. And that is what I will stick with, and I believe.
All right.
Okay. I'm trying to think about the examples.
As far as the superior, you can have, like, you can win. Like I was giving Andrew yesterday the numbers with Clayton Kershaw, the year that they won the World Series.
Yeah.
The Dodgers won the World Series. And Kershaw is, again, LCS, 7 ERA. And they win the World Series.
Again, that's one guy, though.
No, but that's it. That's your dominant starter, though. And he goes and he triples his ERA from the regular season, and they still win a World Series because they had arms at the back end.
I would say
were able to shut him down.
Arizona and Texas last year were based around the starting rotation. I would say the Astros team that beat you was based around the starting rotation. I don't know. I
Do
think
you think
I think it goes either way because the Rangers also had the Aroldis Chapman last year. Like they had a bunch of guys coming out of that bullpen. Too. Like it's
the Phillies.
I don't think there's a right answer.
The Phillies didn't have a problem with the top starters of Arizona.
No, yeah, it was the bullpen.
It was the bullpen. Bullpen they couldn't. They did not have a problem.
For Brandon Pfaadt. No, except for Brandon Pfaadt.
He wasn't even talking about top names out of the rotation.
Who was that guy out of the bullpen that throws like 88 miles an hour to 92 miles an hour? He had like 2 pitches. He was on the Diamondbacks bullpen last year.
I'm trying to think.
He's on the team again this year.
Sold? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was terrible.
Sewell or something like that.
Sold.
Like, that
or
dude,
Sewell.
That dude threw.
I say Sold like Sewell's in New Jersey.
Right, Sewell,
so
New Jersey.
I think it's
That dude
pronounced
threw
Sewell.
like 89 miles an hour, and they couldn't touch him.
He's available at the trade deadline potentially.
He is. That's
and
right.
their best starter.
Paul Sewell. I
Yeah.
think it's Sewell. Yeah.
And their
Is it
best
Sewell?
starter, they had no problem with.
Yeah, Zach
They had
Gallen,
no
they took care
problem.
of business against.
I mean,
I don't think there's a right or
There
wrong
is,
answer.
and you know what? And it could be an answer that could be right one year with one team and right
Oh, yeah,
another.
absolutely. All right, what is real and what is not? What is sustainable? What is not for this Phillies team in the second half of the season? You can climb in 610-632-0975. But I want to get into this. And this will also be a conversation as the show continues.
This could end up in civil war on this show, too, by the way.
I don't know.
It
Well,
might be.
because I'm Jersey side,
might
and
be.
you're
Yeah,
PA side.
it might be.
So there was an article yesterday, the ROINJ News, New Jersey's leading business media company, delivering impactful news and fostering connections that shape the state. All right.
Okay.
There was an article that the state of New Jersey is making a serious push to convince the Philadelphia 76ers to move to New Jersey and into a new arena that would be built in Camden. 4 people familiar with the discussions confirmed to ROINJ.
Can I tell you where I smell the rat?
Sure.
First of all, where I smell the rat in the timing of this story is that we are waiting in the next 3 calendar week, maybe 4, for Sherelle Parker in the mayor's office to come up and ratify that they're in on the Sixers moving to the Center City. All of a sudden, this story surfaces.
So this is the
This could be a plant story.
this is the Golden State Warriors have interest in Paul George.
Yeah, we have a
and the Sixers need to give them the max.
we have a plant story that we've put out there that we're willing to. You know what? You're not the only game in town, Center City. We could decide to build in Camden. That's the one. That's why I
Okay.
smell a rat. The other rat I smell is, why in the hell would you even consider moving over the bridge away from the vast majority of your fan base, as you have already put out there, the vast majority of your fan base trying to get this Center City arena? You've told us, come from this side of the bridge. Why in the hell would you ever even consider putting a team over in New Jersey? And I am not, and I'm saying this, and I'm just being fair, because I'm going to be fair, and whether
and that's okay.
I am absolutely not able to be moved on this issue. I'm not able to be open-minded on the issue. They are not the New Jersey 76ers. And there is zero reason to consider moving the Philadelphia 76ers and the Liberty Bell and all the Philadelphia, moving it and saying, well, we're going to play in Jersey. BS. We're not New York. There's no reason for us to be New York. Build a damn stadium in the state of Pennsylvania, in the city of Philadelphia, where you play. I am not open-minded to this. Won't even consider it.
Won't even consider it.
No, absolutely will not.
Hold on. Remember, one of the issues is public transit. The Patco line does take you to Camden.
Will not even consider it. And the vast majority of fans do not take public transit to go to our sporting events.
but that's their plan for the fashion
No,
district.
that's what they can. They can Uber. They can do whatever they got to do.
And they can
you
take
don't have
public,
to take.
and they can take public
And again,
transportation.
and I've called BS on that with the Sixers story since the beginning. I don't believe that's going to happen.
Well, I'm sure they would say the exact same stuff about this potential Camden arena.
So it's either a BS story, or to me, it's a BS premise.
No, I think it's a legitimate possibility, and I'll explain more coming up next because you and I talked about this
Yes, we
before the
have.
show. Least bit surprised. I'll explain more coming up next. Would love to get your reaction as well. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Fanatic Friday. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hope you all have a great weekend. All right, so let's discuss this some more, and then we'll get to the calls and the texts in a second. You can call in, text in 610-632-0975. What was sustainable from the first half? What is unsustainable from the first half of the Phillies season as they resume play tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates? But the other discussion point is about the Sixers and the story that comes out yesterday about a potential move to Camden. So, John, let me first respond to what you said, the first thing you said about maybe it was a plant.
Yes.
I'll go plant.
You're leaning that way.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, like that was my first thought was, okay.
Mine as well.
The timing of it, I think plant makes so much more sense, and it wasn't like this is a totally real possibility. But I will say this. I don't think it's out of the question, and I don't think it's been out of the question. When they built that practice facility in Camden years ago, I think it was like 2018, they built the facility, which is gorgeous, by the way.
It is beautiful.
We had the opportunity to go see it. I've done a couple of shows there now. That place is beautiful, and it's right near the water. I know what people think about Camden, New Jersey. The waterfront is a beautiful place, and where that Sixers practice facility is gorgeous. That the concert venue, whatever it is now, because
Freedom Mortgage Pavilion.
Thank you. It's changed names like 7 times in the last 6 years. That's a great spot to be. So if an arena is built, it would be built in that area, right? There is the PATCO line for people that would take public transportation. The biggest beef for a lot of people is crossing the bridge and then having to cross back over the bridge. Welcome to my life. Sorry that I live in New Jersey. But I get why people would not want to do it. And to what they have said to us here on the station is that the majority of their Sixers fans,
the vast majority,
because they can track all this kind of stuff, live in Center City and not the suburbs of Pennsylvania, not the suburbs of New Jersey.
They live in the area that people, when they track Uber to the stadium.
Yeah, like Manayunk, when I lived there.
It's not people doing Uber from over the bridge. It's not people from coming. It is from.
It's not people from Doylestown either. You know what I mean?
But it's a lot of Delco, a lot of Montco.
Oh, there's a lot of South Jersey, but people are driving themselves.
Exactly.
I could tell you a lot of people in my neighborhood have season tickets to the Sixers. All right, like there are.
My buddy Ron Davis is a South Jersey guy.
Yes,
season ticket holder of the Sixers.
Believe it or not, there are people that are Philadelphia sports fans that live in South Jersey. I know that might sound confusing because it's 2 different states. If they were to move to Camden, I know it's going to drive people crazy. If they move to the Fashion District, it's going to drive people crazy.
Now, that'd be dumb.
If they move...
if people are driven crazy...
If they move to Broaden, Oregon, it's going to drive people crazy. People don't like change. That's one of the biggest bees for people, is that people don't like change for something that won't happen for 10 years, by the way. Like, it's not like this is happening tomorrow. This will happen 10 years from now. If they move to Camden, the one thing that I will point out, we clown the New York Football Giants and the New York Jets for playing in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Correct.
So we would be hypocrites if we said, oh, well, it's all good that they play now in New Jersey. Is it the end of the world? No.
No, it's not the end of the world, but it is absolutely, it would be flat out freaking stupid.
I don't think it'd be
It's stupid.
flat out freaking
I don't know.
I think
There's a lot
harsh.
of upsides to the state of New Jersey, Johnny. It's the Garden State. The air is beautiful. They got beaches.
There is so many beautiful things about New Jersey.
There are.
So many things that are great. The Philadelphia 76ers, Eagles, Phillies, whatever, do not need to play there. There is zero reason for them to need to play there. None.
They don't
and
need
and
to
when the
play there.
vast majority of your fan base is in Pennsylvania, are Pennsylvanians, work in Pennsylvania, live in Pennsylvania, there is an even bigger reason you do not move away from your fan base. That's not smart. It's not smart. That's why I smell the rat and think this story is completely just a plant.
Let's not act like there aren't the Washington Commanders play in Landover, Maryland, and they're going to move even further south.
But their majority of their fan base lives in that area.
Okay.
That's different. And more importantly, we're not talking about having to be, you're not paying major tolls to go to a Redskin game.
I gotta pay tolls every time I go to a Sixers game, a Phillies game, a Flyers game, an Eagles game.
Because you're choosing to go to see the Philadelphia 76ers, not the Camden 76ers.
Yeah, but
that's
from
why.
Andrew's house, he's probably closer than a lot of people who are fans of the Sixers.
Yeah, and I'm not doing this.
But he's closer than I am.
Yes, and
he's closer than I am.
What I think you're thinking about it for your perspective, or a lot of people from Pennsylvania. There are people that live in South Jersey that are fans of all these teams. And I would say it's not just like 25%. I don't have the data in front of me. I don't know if it's a 50-50 split, 60-40 split,
No, they've talked
80-20
about
split.
They have talked about the Sixers in making the case
They have.
for downtown. Have told you the vast majority of their fan base is in Pennsylvania, not in New Jersey. So it is not something where you'd go, this is a smart business decision. Let's move our team to Jersey. That's why I think this story is completely an absolute false flag.
I will
don't
also
believe
say,
it at all.
I know it is the state of New Jersey, but it's not like you're moving to Brigantine.
No question.
Like you're moving to Camden, which
No
is
question.
right there.
And also,
right?
by
It's
the
right
way,
there.
yeah, and that is not an area where you're saying it's ideal to go move the stadium to. Brigantine would actually be better. They have work to do. There's work to do, and it's been done a bit. There's a ton of work to do in Camden.
Well, again, you'd be, as I said earlier, it'd be on the waterfront.
I understand.
Which is a very nice area.
It is beautiful.
It's a
beautiful
nice area.
but
There's
it's
work
not
to do
a,
in the fashion
But
district,
it's not
too.
a good.
Right. There's work to be done in Philadelphia,
but
John.
it's not a. Yes,
There's work to be done in any city.
Center City.
Let's be honest.
Center City is a lot more desirable to them as far as being able to police it all and to handle it than it is. Or maybe the Navy Yard.
Maybe. Or what could have been from the very beginning if the city officials didn't vote against it on the Parkway.
Oh, that would have been great. That would have been great.
Penn's Landing was the original plan, and they voted for a park instead that was no longer funded, and now it's just a war zone.
So dumb.
Hey, I wander through there sometimes on the way
Yeah,
home.
no,
Yeah,
that was a great decision. Let's build
your heads on a
let's build
swivel.
a park that doesn't happen. All right. Coming up, we reset the entire show. We get your reaction on these topics. Also, Connor Thomas, Mr. Anti-Trade Prospects. Let's keep everybody actually has a trade.
What?
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Kincade Salciunas. Good morning. Hopefully you're not dealing with travel issues or any sort of outages.
No Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks is apparently down, man. And I didn't even think about it. I texted Christy about it, my wife, who's a nurse at the hospital. She's like, I hope I'm not walking into an S storm. I forgot about think about all the computer systems at hospitals.
Absolutely.
So
I think that
hopefully this gets fixed pretty soon.
I think to Christy and all of I tip my hat to all the medical professionals out there.
Damn right.
I think that you every day, it could be a random Thursday. They could be walking into an
into an S storm. Oh, absolutely.
And we never know when it's
whether
going to be.
Whether it has something to do with technology or not.
They don't
absolutely.
know what it's going to be, and I admire the hell out of them so much.
Yeah.
I imagine the patience that it takes. You guys have my ultimate respect.
Yeah, and then they get home and then they vent, and then I hear about it, and then I go, all right, time to get ready to do it again tomorrow.
Let's talk about we're going to go talk about the Phillies and the Eagles and the Sixers.
Right. So if you're just tuning in, that's what we're talking about. What is sustainable? What is not from the first half of this Phillies season for the second half as they resume play tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and also the Sixers and their potential move. Potential. It was an article. We don't know if there's validity to it. I do believe it is a possibility. I think they still have their eyes set on the Fashion District, or they buy into the Flyers' plan where they're trying to, revamp, the stadium district right now.
Remember, too, part of the Flyers, Eagles, now they get the Eagles and the Phillies in on it, sort of. As far as
the Phillies are definitely the Eagles.
Phillies are in definitely. They're trying to get the Eagles in and figure.
And if they get the Eagles, that'll be a big deal for them.
The Eagles have a concern about tailgating,
right,
with the plan, so they want to talk about that. But remember, it would mean the Sixers would get a new stadium of their own,
which is what they want.
The Sixers would not be then necessarily being in the Wells Fargo Center. The Sixers could build their own closer to 95 on that side of the far end of Lincoln Financial Field towards 95 and the far end of the parking lots.
Right.
So they could do that. The Sixers could still have their own stadium potentially, or they could build the new Wells Fargo Center where they would create one for the Flyers and Sixers that they would collaborate on and be equal partners.
Right, and that's the biggest.
And that's what the Sixers
one of the biggest things, because we'll get to a caller in a second, and I think they don't necessarily know why the Sixers want to leave. So we'll get to the calls in a second. You can text the show 610-632-0975. So the Phillies discussion, what is sustainable, what is not from the first half of the season as they resume play tonight. And the Sixers and a potential move to New Jersey, to Camden, New Jersey. What is your thoughts on that? And if it did happen, how would you react? John's completely against it.
And you know what? It's bad of me to not be open-minded to it. But I think it's also better to just be honest as far as conversations that you're having.
Is fair.
I am not open to it because there's absolutely zero reason that it has to happen, and that it should happen.
Okay,
there's none,
and that's your opinion. And I'm sure people share that. I'm sure people share that with you, man.
There's a lot of people probably going, "Come on, be open to it." And I'm telling you, sometimes in life you're not open to discussion, and that's one that, to me, I'm sort of closed-minded on it. Maybe someone could change my opinion on it.
All right, let's get some reaction to it. And then coming up later this segment, maybe the next 5 to 10 minutes, Connor, who is anti-trades of prospects, because you're best friends with us.
That's not it. That's also not it. I'm more cautious. I don't think they're just a guaranteed you move the prospect, you get something better.
And that's what I am. Proven versus unknown. But Connor texted us yesterday. He might actually be open to making a trade
without giving us the details,
which
I love. We have no idea where he's going.
He could be talking about Tomas Perez right now. I don't know. I don't know who this guy's. He might be, dude. All right, let's go to the phones. We'll get some texts as well. Let's go to Stymie in the Lehigh Valley. Stymie, what's going on, man?
What's up? I want to talk about the Sixers and moving. I don't think it would be a great idea at all if they would move to Center City. I've talked to plenty of people from Delco and from the Lehigh Valley and other areas, and they said that if the Sixers move in Center City, they won't go to games.
And what if I said to you, I talked to a lot of people from in and around the city that are welcome to it.
And I know a lot of young people that actually are hoping, crossing their fingers, that Center City ends up being the spot.
Like, Simon, I'm sure there are a lot of people that are against the idea, and you have every right to your opinion, and I could see why you are against the idea. Like, I know how traffic can get in the Center City.
It doesn't matter to me. I'll take the train down there. I live in Delco.
Okay.
I'll take the train there. So, but there's people that don't live within the areas to catch the train, and they are not going to drive in the Center City. There's people that are terrified to go into Center City. They want nothing to do with the city of Philadelphia. There's nothing wrong with the Wells Fargo Center. Why move?
Well, so that's the thing.
There is a problem with it.
They want to have their own share of a building, and right now they are tenants. They are renting out the space inside the Wells Fargo Center.
And the vast majority of NBA teams are not tenants.
Right. And look, they are businessmen. And thanks for the call, Stymie. That's where I think a lot of people still are confused by it. It's not that they don't like the Wells Fargo Center. It's not like they walk into the building and go, oh, look at this disgusting place.
Right.
No, they're business people. They want to have their own share. They want to make their profit, all of their profit, and not have to pay rent to be in a building. And that's something that I think a lot of people just still don't know.
You're talking about all the profit from being able to, the profit of parking, the profit of concessions, the profit of everything. And more importantly for the Sixers, and I think it might actually be more important, they have to they can't have games because Disney on Ice comes in at Christmas time. They can't host a Christmas game.
Right.
They can't do things because of Disney on Ice because they're third on the priority list.
Yeah.
As far as between Flyers, events, Sixers. And and if I'm the Sixers, I completely understand it. That's why a new stadium that the Sixers and the Flyers would share within this South Philly complex being changed, I think would make complete sense.
Yeah, it makes
would be
sense.
Awesome.
It also makes sense that they'd rather have it all to themselves.
Right, it does.
I can't blame them for wanting that. Again, I'm not some businessman. All right, I'm living paycheck to paycheck here. All right, so I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, I'm telling you to invest in this company and do this and do that."
Well, that's because you just spent $800 to play NCAA college football. 25.
Exactly.
Nah, not that much, but close to it. They're businessmen, and they know what the hell they're doing. They have net worths of $1 billion for a reason. They know what the hell they're doing, so they know what's best for them. And what's best for them is owning their own building, as opposed. How many times have you had the conversation? Oh, you're still renting? You should own. You should own the house.
And more importantly, too, it's when you're John Middleton, and you see a stadium in South Philly packed every single night, months in advance. You know the ticket sales. You know that. You then say, "Hey, adjust the budget, Dave Dombrowski."
Right.
I know I can handle a luxury tax. I know I can handle things because the fans are supporting the product, and I know my revenues are coming in and they're strong. The Sixers don't have the same ability. And to me, I totally understand the Sixers' point of view. But I believe this is an absolute, let's get somebody to blink because we're concerned whether the city of Philadelphia is going to buy into our project downtown or not.
Let's go to our man Tasty Cake Dom. Dommy, what's going on, brother? Good morning.
Hey, Andrew. Hey, John.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
Good, buddy.
Just a real, I live in South Jersey. Philadelphia 76ers have to be the Philadelphia 76ers.
That is correct.
And look, we clown the New York Giants when they play in East Rutherford. Like I get it. I would be a hypocrite if I said the opposite.
Are you going to ring the Liberty Bell over in Camden?
No, I'm
sorry.
What
do you find?
You fire off the battleship,
New
battleship
Jersey
New Jersey.
cannons.
Dude, that'd be freaking awesome.
Then change the name of the freaking franchise.
You know how the Sacramento does light the beam? We fire the cannons, bro.
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
Change the name of the franchise then.
Now, John, I wanted to quickly tell you. So the two stats when you're weighing the starting pitching versus the bullpen.
Okay.
Andrew already mentioned the Phillies are almost they're 27-2 when the starting pitching goes 7, right? But the other statistic is when you stretch that, they're 2-6 in extra inning games. When you stretch the bullpen, the Phillies lose.
Well, the Phillies have one of the best bullpens in baseball.
Yeah.
So I think that is a stat that doesn't. No, that's a stat that it's not a small window. It's 90-some games. It's 96 games.
I'm talking about inning-wise, it's a small window. They have a great bullpen.
Yeah, you know what, Dom, I think here's the thing. The extra innings, because of the runner on second
Correct.
thing,
You can't.
I can't even base that anymore.
It's ridiculous. I don't even look at honestly those extra inning stats. I look at them and it's so
You
it's so
start
stupid.
an inning with the runner on second. Like it's crazy.
And a guy gives up a single. A pitcher gives up a single that would normally be innocuous,
and it's a run.
and it ends up costing you a run. So I don't buy any of those. Extra inning statistics are almost wasteful.
Wow. Okay.
That's to me.
It didn't used to be, Dom, but ever since they added the runner on second. Thanks for the call, brother. Always great hearing from you.
But I do understand his point. Like, the extra innings was probably his best example to have a statistic you can tie to the bullpen performance as a whole. But when you look at great starting pitching, you're getting 7 innings. When you're looking at great bullpen pitching, ideally 2 innings.
When a pitcher
3 innings.
okay, here's what I would say to you too is that, and maybe this does play to Dom. If that runner scores from second on a single, it's not an earned run, right?
Yeah, but I'm not worried about extra
No, but I'm
innings.
saying as far as but Dom pointing to statistics, it doesn't cost you.
Well, he's win-loss. That's
No,
the statistic
exactly.
that he cares about.
The win-loss is
that
not.
they are 2-6 in extra inning games. But dude, I don't know. Like you like this bullpen. If
I
the
love this
starting
bullpen.
pitcher only goes 5, let's say Wheeler only goes 5, and they pull him.
And guess what? The bullpen is still responsible for less innings than the starter was. That's why starters are always more important.
Right. So 5 innings. Okay.
And again,
I don't think there's a right or
Connor,
wrong answer.
Connor, we'd have to look into this more, but I truly believe from just postseason baseball that I've watched in the last decade, I think bullpens have been more critical than starters. I think we've seen more where dominant starters compared to bullpens. I think we've seen more bullpens take center stage than starters. That's just me. I don't know if and I don't know that I'm correct on that.
Well,
I'm
here.
just saying is what my perception is that's the case.
Again, I will once again say I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. I think you're also used to seeing what the Phillies have done in the playoffs the last 2 years. You forget that Wheeler and Nola had outings where they went like 7 strong, but then there were the games where they had a pitcher go 3, and then the bullpens pitched 6 stellar innings.
Yes.
Like Rob Thompson's kind of used every single bullet in his chamber.
Like I remember a couple of those Braves series starts where you had they were into 3 pitchers by the 6th inning, and they won games.
Yeah,
and they managed to win a game.
I think it's matchup based. I think whatever.
Here's all you need to know, right? You need both. But in an ideal world, like the perfect start in the postseason, let's go to Roy Halladay's no-hitter.
Yeah.
You can get 9 innings from a starter and nothing from the bullpen. There is no world where you will ever not need a starter. Like, the starter's innings are always the same level of big. Bullpen innings can be big, they can be small, they can be variable by game. A good starting pitcher is needed every single game, no exception.
Okay, now listen to Steve-O here. Now, I don't know. I have not researched this stat. Steve-O says bullpen games in the postseason since the pandemic.
Okay.
Teams that have had to go to bullpen games, he says, are 7-6. They're in 13 games. They're 7-6.
So what are we?
So he's
what
saying
is
is
that?
What are we?
he's saying
What does
is
that
that
show?
he's saying is that bullpen games in his mind, bullpen's more important because he says even if you do there have been teams that have done bullpen games in the postseason. He says 13 times and they're 7-6. I do not know Steve-O's numbers, so I am not.
I
just
don't.
don't
What are they?
get
What
what
are they
you're-
counting as a bullpen game? Like
A game where you do not have a starter. You start with a close. Like the Phillies had a bullpen game 4 against the Padres.
no, that was Bailey Falter started. He was a
but they
starting
went to the
pitcher.
bullpen in the.
Loaded. But that's not
Right,
a bullpen,
game is if Orion Kerkering starts the game.
Like on
So that's
Sunday.
why I'm trying to figure out
Yeah,
what is the
and
basis
again,
of
that's
these
why
numbers.
I'm telling you, I didn't do Steve-O's
Because like a
numbers.
bullpen game,
And Steve-O, I appreciate you, and I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying I did not do that research.
by definition, a bullpen game is a guy from your
Has to
who's
be a
not
starter.
is the
Must
guy that
start
starts
the
the
game.
game.
He
But
says it's
the
happened
Phillies
13.
have done things where they had Ranger Suarez only pitch. It was their
Like
plan.
Christopher Sanchez against the Diamondbacks. 3
Right.
innings, then you go bullpen the rest of the way.
Such a terrible plan.
All right, so speaking of the Phillies, and you know what? Give us a text because I also want to check out our text line. You can text the show 610-632-0975, and then I want to hear this trade, like the only trade that it seems like you're finally willing to make, and I'm
he
proud of you,
likes it.
Connor. Welcome to the good side.
It's not
of
what
sports.
you're doing.
What do you got on the text line for?
All right, so this is about sustainable or not sustainable, and funny enough, it's about the bullpen.
Okay.
No name on this text, but they say in the bullpen, real. Strom and Hoffman's greatness is real to me. Not real, as much as I really am starting to like him, Kerkering's numbers. And this texter says they need another righty arm.
Why do they not believe in Kerkering?
I don't know.
Do you believe in Kirk? If I said to you right now, Do you believe in Kerkering or Alvarado more
Alvarado.
in the postseason?
Alvarado.
Okay.
Alvarado.
Do you believe in Kerkering more than Sir Anthony?
Kerkering more
Yes.
than everybody else.
That's me too.
Oh, no, Jeff
Okay,
Hoffman.
that's
No, Hoffman and Strom
Hoffman and
are
Strom
in the
are
higher
off
tier.
the board.
Okay, I'm sorry.
They're
Yeah,
off the
come
board. Other than Alvarado, to me, Kerkering would be my fourth that I believe in.
Yeah, you have 4. And the great thing about it, too, is those guys are lefty, righty, lefty, righty. So
Correct.
you can add either a righty,
Yeah.
a lefty, just add another high leverage.
We're looking righty, right, though? You'd think?
Nah, I don't care. I mean, you could get a lefty, you could get a righty. I don't really have a preference. Like,
Yeah.
you have 2 righties and 2 lefties, and you really only need 5 high leverage bullpen arms for the postseason.
Yes.
And you are close to having that. You can make the case that you have that already.
I would say 4.
Alvarado, Hoffman, Strom, Kirk. Okay, you have 4.
Yeah, because you're not.
But that's still pretty freaking good.
But you
to
have,
start.
you have upside with Greg Soto and Sir Anthony Dominguez. They're just not trustworthy.
Soto's
Soto's
pitched pretty well this
right.
year.
Yeah.
He had a couple of rough outings in the beginning. Remember, there was a guy that emailed me. Anytime he gave up a run, I was like, all right, dude, but then you won't email me when he has a shutout inning. But
You should email him back. Emails go both ways.
And no, I did. I did.
Yeah.
You taunted the man?
No, I just had a conversation.
Okay, some people need to be taunted.
It's okay. Having conversations without throwing, cuss words.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, it's okay. You can have a legitimate discussion. All right, Connor, welcome to the good side of wanting to trade players. What's going on? What got you to this position, Connor?
A couple things. Last weekend got me to this position. The All-Star game got me to this position. There's one player that is pretty much trade anybody.
All right. Can I guess?
Yeah, and you're going to get it.
Mason Miller.
Not even a doubt.
Yeah.
That dude is unbelievable. Like, you would be trading for essentially prime Aroldis Chapman.
He's the Paul Skeens of this year, but out of the bullpen.
Exactly. And you can go get that guy. He is available.
And he can be a starter, potentially,
Exactly.
down the line
Down
for
the
your
line,
franchise.
There's no reason that's not a guy that I would not give up basically everything to go get.
You don't make you make a case there of something that I would say, load it up.
I don't know
Load it
how,
up.
I don't know how you ever hit that guy. Like, seeing the numbers, seeing the highlights versus watching him actually pitch,
Yeah.
I do not know how anybody actually makes contact with that guy.
He's
You
got
could
a whip of .85 this year.
And you do consider him Skeens-esque.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he's throwing 104 miles an hour.
He's Skeens-esque.
Yeah,
no, I mean,
he's got-
no, but he's
this guy's ridiculous.
He's got like
unbelievable.
70 strikeouts and what, like 20-some
He has
innings pitched?
70 strikeouts this year to 14 walks in 39 and 2/3.
Okay.
That's what it is.
All right, Connor, you're better with the A's. The Locked On Phillies podcast, by the way, be sure to subscribe. Do the A's need a third baseman?
This is the weird thing, right?
The A's need anything. They're,
No, Kevin, what I'm
they're
saying is,
rebuilding.
if they needed a third baseman, that's a guy that I would say, Aiden Miller, I'd be willing to
Yeah,
give
but
up.
this is where it gets tricky. The A's don't know what they need.
Right.
What the A's need
They're
is they
rebuilding.
need a contractor
They need
to
a
build them a
stadium. Yeah,
stadium.
right.
Like,
No, but they're going to be in Sacramento.
sure, but
And then they're going to be in Vegas.
yeah, but that ownership has no plans to rebuild that team. That ownership isn't looking at that team like, hey, we need this so we can potentially compete. That ownership's
No, I think
trying
they
to
want-
keep their head above water.
And I think they want a nice, cheap. Well, no, their finances are going to be fine now with the Vegas deal. They're going to be
Yeah,
fine, but it's
but-
going to be. But they're going to have 3 years that they got to bridge. I think they're going to want to go ultra cheap, and so to me, that's somebody that I would say Aiden Miller's not off the table. I would have no problem with it. And you know what, too? Andrew Painter would absolutely not be off the table.
I would listen to everything the Oakland Athletics have to say. He's the only guy. But everything they call me on, I'm picking up the phone. I'm not saying I'm
Yeah.
doing it.
No,
There's
but that's
still
fine.
going to be some restraint there, but that's
well,
the
you
one
just said
guy.
you'd trade anyone for him.
No, I'm saying he may be a trade anything guy. You have to talk to me about what we're getting. Are you going to potentially get Brent Rooker
Right,
in that
as a
deal
part
too?
of the deal,
and
too.
in that case, whatever.
Where do you
Like, make
play?
it happen.
Where do you play Rooker?
Yeah, well, kind of.
Yeah.
You play him in left, you move Marsh to center, you put Rojas on the bench, and you figure the rest out.
Yeah.
Your defense just got much.
Yeah, but
your
he's,
defense
it's
got
not like it's
horrendous.
He's not Schwarber. He's better than Schwarber in left
he's
field.
slightly better than Schwarber, I would believe. He's considered
I think a lot of people are
he's
better than
considered
Schwarber.
he's considered a sub. How about this? He's considered a subpar defensive player
Okay.
in the outfield.
and then, you
Schwarber
use,
was-
so is
and then you
Schwarber.
use his
And
bat,
Schwarber was
and then his
too.
bat makes up for it.
Okay, but then you've just gotten weaker,
Okay, well,
significantly weaker.
here's the thing.
Yeah, but then you have
also.
Brandon Marsh and Johan Ross in your lineup every day. Is that what you want? It's like, honestly, it's.
I'm telling
do
you
you
this.
want more defense or do you want an added bat?
I am not touching the defense you get in center field. I'm not. If I want to win a World Series, I'm not touching
Well, they're going
the
to.
defense.
So then Brandon Marsh is not playing.
Brandon Marsh can platoon with somebody. I am.
With who? You're not. Brent
But I'm
Rooker's
saying-
Brent Rooker's
No.
everyday player. He's not. They're not platooning
Well,
Brent Rooker.
I am not. I would have no problem saying that Brandon Marsh then is a supplemental player. If you're saying that you don't care about the and with Rojas, you might be able to get away with it. But I also see Marsh. I see Marsh in left field. I think he's played exceptional in left field defense.
Yeah, but he literally cannot hit a left-handed pitcher.
I understand.
So Brent Rooker
but what's
is not platooning.
I understand. So you've got to make the decision what you're doing. Do you mess with I would have no problem with Marsh becoming a fourth outfielder. None.
Well, he might platoon with Rojas. That could be your lefty-righty platoon.
I'd be totally fine with that.
It could be. It could be. I guarantee you, your starting pitchers wouldn't be as
Well, and then what
Marsh is an above-average outfielder.
And then what you
But
eventually
he's
do
not
later in a game,
Rojas.
Rooker
Right.
comes out, Marsh moves to left, Johan Rojas goes into center
Okay,
field.
that could potentially be
or Marsh comes in for Rooker, depending on if there's a lefty or righty on the
You
mound.
honestly do not. You guys don't have to sell me on that. I'm honestly. I would.
But I don't think they're going to get both Mason Miller and Brent Rooker.
No.
Like I don't think that's
Whoa.
happening.
What if you said Andrew Painter and Aiden Miller were going in
Do
the
it,
deal?
baby,
Still not
because
enough.
those two guys aren't winning you anything right now.
They don't care about
Trade
winning
anybody.
right.
Cooper is going to hate you when he listens back to
Trade
this.
anybody.
Cooper's going to be like,
Cried out
why does
loud,
my
win me
baseball
a
team
World
stink in
Series.
2030? It's because you traded everyone.
Win me a World Series. I don't care about Cooper's enjoyment 6 years from now when it comes to the Phillies. I want mine, damn it. I've
Think
been
of the
here.
children.
I've been here longer.
Bad dad.
All right, coming up next. Speaking of the Phillies, and we'll get to more of the reaction to the Sixers Stadium story that came out yesterday. I'll repeat what it was. Mr. Logic over here disappointed me, Connor. The Phillies are missing someone this weekend that I am not happy about. But Mr. Logic might make a legitimate case, but I don't care about logic. I also care about entertainment. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. the Delaware Valley.
And it is beautiful.
It is beautiful. We'd love to hear from you. 610-632-0975. You can text in. You can call in. Our topics today. What was sustainable about the first half of the season for the Phillies that will carry over into the second half, the unofficial second half, as they resume play tonight against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Pirates.
I'm sorry, what?
I got football in the brain, man. We're 4 days from camp. Pittsburgh
football's
Pirates. Yeah, come on, man.
At least it's not the Geese.
Oh, yeah. Also, the Sixers, there was a story that came out yesterday from a news source in New Jersey that the Sixers, if plans completely fall out of the way they wanted to here in the city with the Fashion District Arena, they could build an arena at the Camden waterfront.
I smell a
Jersey
rat.
side.
I smell a rat in the release of the story. I believe that it's the timing of it smells. It smells.
Yeah, because they have to make a
down to the
decision
deadline.
soon.
Yes, we're down to the deadline.
I compared it to Paul George. Out of nowhere, the Golden State Warriors wanted Paul George. The Sixers ponied up, gave him the max contract, and he plays with the Sixers.
I'm 60-40, by the way, on I'm 40% in support of the Center City, 60% wishing hoping that something works out in South Philly.
Okay.
But I'm around I am not opposed.
But
I am not opposed to the Sixers being downtown.
But you're against the Jersey. The Jersey move.
0.0% in support of Jersey at all.
Wow.
I love Jersey.
Wow.
It is
This guy hates
fantastic.
Jersey. You're not allowed on our shores anymore.
But I am not, if you're telling about the Sixers playing at the shore, that's a hell of a commute.
Well, they do that during the summer. They have that summer camp, Sixers down the shore.
I'm going to alert all the beach tag people. John Kincade no longer
not allowed.
welcome.
Yeah,
Persona
not
non
allowed.
grata.
Hey, at the fantastic Icona Avalon, they give you your tag as soon as you check in.
All right, because you
guess
paid.
what?
Because you paid to be there. It's probably built into your package, John.
Wait a minute. No, I think those people just do it out of kindness.
That's my brother's
Yeah.
wedding venue. I'm going to tell them next time. No more Kincade.
No more
It is a
Kincade.
fantastic spot, Connor. You're going to be thrilled.
No, I'm going to learn from the story John told yesterday. Kincades are welcome everywhere.
So would love your response to our topics today, 610-632-0975. But, John,
Yes,
you're
sir.
a coward.
That's some really strong words, dude.
Well, you told me to use a stronger word
Well,
that I
yes.
quite literally can't say on the air.
Well, I was thinking you might want a week off. This week up at the beach.
You're a coward. John Kincade is a coward.
Is it a coward for being
Yes.
logical?
Yes, you
It
can be a
is.
logical coward.
So logic is cowardice in your
Yeah.
mind.
Depending-
Bravery is naturally illogical.
Yeah, like I have been wanting to skydive for like 15 years now, but every time I go to sign up, I'm too much of a coward. But it's probably also logic that makes me a coward. Because what if the chute don't pull? Dead. All right.
Yes.
Logic.
Dead.
Your logic is correct, but you are a coward because you are celebrating the fact that the Phillies are not facing Paul Skeens this weekend.
Guilty as charged. I'm
And-
not gonna try to spin it. I'm not gonna try to make it out like I'm not feeling that way. Look, I love watching Paul Skeens pitch.
Yes.
I'm not in the least bit bothered by the fact that the Phillies don't have to face him. Not in the least does it bother me.
I'm bummed out. I would love to see, because here's why you want to see him face him. Even though there's a strong chance you lose, you want to be the team that wins. Like,
Okay.
I want my team to be the one that, like, all over Sports Center, oh, Paul Skeens has his first bad outing. I don't want it to be against the Cincinnati Reds. I don't want it to be against the Texas Rangers. I want Bryce Harper to go yard off that guy. You're a coward.
I have no problem with your
Even though
your
you're
logic.
You're logically correct.
I am logically correct though.
Yeah, because
It's better,
the Phillies
'cause-
have a better chance of
look-
winning a series when they don't have to face Paul Skeens.
You know the only thing I'm worried about now? 59. Get
Magic
that
number.
magic number down.
So
whatever
you don't think they can
accelerates
beat,
it.
You don't think the best team in baseball can beat a kid that's been up for
Could they?
3 months?
But why wouldn't I enjoy them going out and just pounding some pitcher that is not close to a Paul Skeens?
When they play the Dodgers, do you want Shohei Ohtani to play?
Shohei Ohtani's going to play, he's in the lineup.
Okay, but like if you had a choice,
If I have a choice, I would have in their prime, I would have preferred that Greg Maddux not pitch against me.
Right.
In my prime, I would have preferred that if I'm bouncing around, I'm not facing a Dwight Gooden or the best pitcher of the game.
I wanted to
No.
face the Jags in the Super Bowl, not
Yes.
the Patriots,
No.
because it's the easier path.
I want the
Coward.
easier path.
But from a July 19th through the 21st series, when you already have an 8.5 game lead over the Atlanta Braves, a 6 game lead over the LA Dodgers for the #1 seed in the National League, I'd be cool from an entertainment standpoint. Watch Paul Skeens pitch against the Phillies. And when it came out that he would not be pitching this weekend, I was bummed out. Logically, you are correct, John, because they now have a better chance at winning each of the 3 games. They have a better chance at sweeping the Pirates before when we found out that Paul Skeens was no longer pitching in this series. They have a better chance of sweeping the Pirates. But it's still like he is a guy that you pay to go see. He is a guy that even though they're on the road in Pittsburgh, you make a point to sit down, not catch up, not rewind and watch from the beginning. No, you want to be their first pitch so that you're watching with everybody else. You want to see the Phillies face that guy. The guy, by the way, who, as you said, Connor, just got called up not that long ago, he did well enough to be the starter of the National League All-Star game.
Yeah, no, he's a very talented pitcher. But if I'm the best team in baseball, I ain't scared of no Skeens.
I'm not saying scared. If you have the opportunity to have, okay, you can drive this way, take this road, you may end up getting a flat tire because there's a lot of nails in the road. Or you could take this road.
What's on that road? Is there a Wendy's down that way?
I'm going to tell you, well,
I mean, the breakfast burrito, I'll do anything for it.
Exactly. The two of you with
The
your
risk
burritos.
reward, baby.
There you go.
Beat
I'm
Skeens, it's going to be awesome. You lose him,
I will risk management. I will say that I'm going to make the intelligent choice.
You are logically cowardice.
Don't bring risk management around me because I was risk management chair of my fraternity, and we went on social probation within like 2 weeks. So don't ask me about risk management.
You had a good regime. You did really well for yourself. All right, what do we got on the text line today, Connor? And, oh, by the way, John reminded me. I haven't even thought about it. We've had such great discussion on our topics today. It's Friday. We got random questions out of the hat, which I have not even gone to yet. We're almost midway through the show. We've had so much to discuss. But what do we have on the text line? Then we'll get a random question out of the hat.
Mike from Turnersville checks in on that conversation about the trade deadline we were having. He says, Miller and Rooker from the A's, unload the farm system, Rojas, etc. Do it. The A's have good young infielders, and they just called up Jacob Wilson and drafted big-time first baseman, so they don't need any infielders. But whatever you can move, go get those 2 guys.
Well, then that probably leaves Aiden Miller out then. So
yeah,
then
I'm sure they'd still take him.
They'll still take him.
No, I don't know because they'd want to play him.
Well, he wouldn't get called up right now.
Exactly.
He would finish the year in the minor leagues,
and then he'd be potentially down
might not
the line.
get called up next year.
Right.
He's projected for 26. So you're right.
Right. This isn't Logan O'Hoppe, who was ready to come up, but JT Realmuto just had him blocked, and they weren't going to start his service time too early just to be a backup catcher. He would still be in the A's farm system for a couple of years. He would never probably play in the Coliseum.
Yeah, there's no one you're trading at this deadline that's going to play for a team.
Yeah, Andrew Painter's hurt.
Andrew Painter's not.
And Aiden Miller's
Crawford's
just still
12 years old.
Crawford's projected for 26 also, though.
Yes. Yeah. Him and Aiden Miller might as well be teenagers.
That's why you trade
That's
why you trade all these guys. That's why you trade all these guys, because right now they don't do anything for you, and they don't do anything for your run next year either.
Okay, Andrew.
The most that they could do for you is be a trade piece.
All right. God.
But do you remember 12 to 21? And how bad it was in this town, though, Andrew?
You know what I remember?
You're being flippant.
You know what I remember?
Don't tell me 08.
1107 Pintail Court, Mullica Hill, New Jersey, in the basement with my father, watching Brad Lidge strike out Eric.
Yeah, but they
didn't.
No. They emptied the farm system after that.
Okay.
To try to get a second one.
I remember watching.
And by the way, that screwed you over.
102 victories that just unfortunately ended way too early in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that did nothing for me.
It's turned you into one of the numbskulls that goes out and buys like 40 pallets of water when it drizzles. Like, you don't need to go all in all the time.
I'm not the milkman during the winter storm.
Yeah, that's what you're being.
You're sounding like it.
No, I'm not. I'm
little bit.
adding my chances of victory.
Okay, cool. You're adding your chances of not dying of thirst.
And we also talk about Dave Dombrowski and how great he's doing building the farm system. You don't think he could do it again?
Yeah, but the thing is,
it takes time.
You finally
you just got Aiden Miller last year.
You finally have stabilized your farm system, though. So why do you want to go and trash it? Like, just the first chance you get, where the farm system is now, I believe they're ranked Baseball America around mid.
I think like 17th, 18th.
And you're at the bottom.
Yeah.
And now you've gotten to where you're mid in the teens. Another year of them doing their job, but I am a Miller. You know, look, if it's the right deal, I'd be in.
But here's the one thing that we're not seeing eye to eye on.
Okay.
I don't think there's a 10-year playoff drought starting in 2 years from now. Bryce Harper's here for a long time. The core is
You're
young.
right. Bryce Harper's never missed the playoffs with the Phillies.
Like they'll sign other players. Like, you know how this team works.
Yes, he's missed
And
the
eventually
playoffs
Kyle
with the Phillies.
He
I
was saying
know,
it
I was being-
sarcastically.
Oh,
Kyle
okay.
Schwarber will be eventually off the books, or you keep him. Castellanos will be eventually off the books, and then you have money to spend elsewhere. Like, they're fine. They could trade the entire farm system today. Everybody, even the lowest ranked prospect, and they'll be fine for another 2 years. And then
Okay.
they'll replenish that farm system.
Yep.
It's where you and I will never see eye to eye.
You're right, because I'm right and you're wrong, and that's okay.
Inaccurate. and the day they win the World Series, you won't think about the kid who's 16 years old, still having his mom wipe his snot when he's playing low A ball. You're not going to think about that kid.
I don't think their moms wipe their
All right,
snot. at that
you don't
level.
know that. But I think a Whiteside's mom had a freaking umbrella over his head at training camp. Coming up next, we get more of your text reaction. We'll get our first question out of the hat. It's Fanatic Friday on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. 97.5, The Fanatic.
How those hands? Are they clean?
Oh, I sanitized.
Okay, good.
I sanitized.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I go and hit the pump right on
Yeah.
the thing because it's.
Or we're soapless in the bathroom. Both sides now.
Both sides now.
Yesterday we had no water. We got no soap. Things are going well for that. Microsoft's down. You know, there's outages all over the place.
Well, maybe they ordered on Microsoft and it hasn't come.
Maybe that's what it is. All right, so here's what we got coming up on the show. Still, I can't believe we are halfway through. It's unbelievable.
It's flying today.
We haven't even gotten a question out of the hat yet. Yesterday, I know Connor said it in the updates a couple of times. Nick Nurse was on our Sixers in 60 show last night on the station. We're going to replay it. It was about 5 minutes long. It wasn't this long interview. We're going to replay the 5 minutes of it coming up at 8:10, which follows today's headlines with Connor Thomas. So we still have a lot in store for you in the next couple of moments. In the 9 o'clock hour, I want to do something. So I forgot to tell you guys this before the show, but I know you guys always look at the handy-dandy show sheet.
I do.
Paul Skeens. I'll take him off the table because I don't, want to only give 4 answers. Paul Skeens, right now, number 1 athlete I would go pay to see. Like, if he was coming to Philadelphia, I would make a case to go. Like, last year, I went to the Phillies-Angels game to see Shohei Ohtani pitch, right? I went to see Miguel Cabrera because it was his retirement tour last year. Think of the top 5 athletes in sports right now that you would buy a ticket to go see when they came into Philadelphia. And if you already saw somebody, take them off your list. Like, I can't say Ohtani because I already did this. I already made a point to go to Citizens Bank Park. Yeah, it makes it harder.
Yeah, it does.
It makes it hard. Like, I can't say LeBron because I've already seen LeBron James multiple times.
I can't say Mahomes because I've already done that.
Exactly. So think of the 5 players that you have not seen yet that you would pay to play, and take Skeens off of it because that was already my number 1, and I imagine you guys would also have him in your top 5, even though you're happy that the Phillies aren't facing him this weekend in Pittsburgh. All right, so we'll do that later on the 9 o'clock hour. I just want to give you a little heads up so you guys can start thinking of your answers.
A little homework.
And I'd love for the audience to chime in as well. You could text in, call in, 610-632-0975. You can also tweet in the show, tweet in your answers. We do still look at our social media and also our YouTube, believe it or not. All right, so let's check the text line, Connor. We have a lot of topics on the table right now. We opened the show with what is sustainable and what was not sustainable from the Phillies' first half as they begin play again today, unofficial second half of the season. And the Sixers could potentially move to Camden, New Jersey, based off the story that came out of a news department, a business, kind of like the sports business
like a
journal.
Business Journal type of thing.
Yeah, come out of New Jersey. That they could go to Camden if the plans with the fashion district do not work. And as you have pointed out,
I smell a rat in the story.
The fact that they have to make the decision in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, I think there is I smell a rat.
I don't want to say rat because I
smell it because
it's not rat. It's a bargaining ploy.
Yeah, but if it is a false planted story, then it's not likely to happen, and it not really has been explored that much.
I think it's no. It's definitely probably been explored. If they're thinking about, they've been wanting to get out of the Wells Fargo Center, right, for years now. Like this wasn't something that happened yesterday or 2 days ago. This has been something that they thought about even before they announced the Fashion District plan. Remember, they wanted to go to Penn's Landing.
They did.
And when Penn's Landing before Penn's Landing, they had ideas of leaving the Wells Fargo Center. They probably thought about New Jersey because they already have a practice facility there. And by the way, as the article, I don't know if you read the article in full. They made a good point that Josh Harris may already have a good relationship with Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, being that he's also the owner of the Devils.
He could.
And so there might be some breaks in order to build that arena.
Yeah, the owner of the New Jersey Devils.
Yes.
It's not the New Jersey 76ers. There's zero reason. I mean, this to me, the Sixers know how bad the optics would be on this. The Sixers know that it doesn't make sense.
Can I ask you this?
Yes.
Is it bad optics when it's first announced and then once they start playing, people forget and don't care anymore?
No. I think it would really. How about this?
Forever.
I don't believe,
30 years from now.
I don't believe that the idea that if you said to me, like, I'm missing, I'm forgetting the caller from Delco earlier.
From the Lehigh Valley.
Stymie.
Stymie. Yeah, Stymie.
Where he said,
thank you, Connor.
And he said, it doesn't matter to me. He goes, I know a lot of people from Delco who won't go to the games if they're in Center City. I've got to tell you, from what I've heard more people say that they think it'd be pretty cool that are totally against it.
I agree with
But
you.
I promise you that if I said to the same people, Jersey, I think it would be overwhelming that they would not be into it.
Even though it's Camden, the very first town,
They would not be
crossing
into
the
it.
Ben
What if you
Franklin
built like a
Bridge.
sandbar across the Delaware that they could walk over on?
What
Or
if
if
they-
you- or if the-
that
what
would
if
What
they
if they
like-
built it in the river?
What if they
Well,
had like
you can walk across the Ben Franklin Bridge.
Yeah.
What if they had like George Washington at 10 at night?
See, that'd be a
No,
great
you don't.
thing. Just a
From
dude
Cam-
dressed like
from
George
Cam-
Washington.
Andrew just suggested walking in Camden at 10 o'clock at night,
I've done it.
walking in Camden, then walking across the bridge into. Yeah, I don't think that's a big.
I've done it. Leaving the concert venue.
Yeah,
you know
it might have
you know
been.
how they raised the prices of Ubers.
Sure,
I
Glad you got a hoof it.
I walked toward the hospital, got to the hospital, ordered an Uber. It was like $50 less
How
expensive.
about this?
from
I
there.
believe the majority of folks will not do that.
Yeah, it's probably
Especially those
that's
if they
probably
bring
the
kids.
logical John.
Yes, that's logical coming in here.
All right,
Look,
what
it's
do we-
just not it.
What do we have on the text line, Connor?
So Eddie from Camden says, I'm from
there you
Camden.
go.
I don't want it here. There's nothing nice here. So that's Eddie's
That's
thoughts.
Eddie from Camden. He's
Yeah.
not part of the. He is not part of the civic sales community.
Yeah, definitely
Okay.
not.
Like, I mean, what are they again? Like, what are they going to? Matt Cord will be like, now we're going to fire off the cannons
Yeah, I'm for
for the
it.
New Jersey Sixers. Which New Jersey Sixers doesn't even make sense.
It would still be Philadelphia 76ers.
That'd be terrible.
We
terrible.
also have another text here saying it's only 20 minutes away. LOL, and South Jersey is definitely Sixers territory.
It is the vast majority of Sixers fans are not New Jersey. The vast majority.
What are the exact numbers on that?
When they gave the numbers for the Center City, they talked about that the majority of their fans, come within a radius of 15 miles on the Pennsylvania side. The majority of their fan base, 15 miles Pennsylvania side, the Uber traffic and everything like that is in the Center City area and not coming across bridges. So already you get that. Then if you throw in a little further out in Montgomery County and Chester County and everything, they have a strong Chester County presence in their season ticket base. Devon and Paoli,
I don't know,
Westchester.
man. I think Burlington and Camden County and all these other ones would have
we're also-
one hell of a representation in the Sixers fan base, too.
we have data for listeners that we can back
do.
that up.
No, but not for the Sixers. They're worried just about their ticket-buying public coming to games.
If
And
it's
they've
in
made-
Center City,
they've already
maybe
made
the
the-
Jersey
dude,
folks
if
don't
they've
care.
already made the case of where people come
if it's
from.
in Jersey, you might get an uptick in New Jersey ticket sales. You
And
never know.
the drop-off when the majority of your fan base is here.
But then the
that's
majority
bad
could
business.
end up being New Jersey. Like, it could just end up changing. By the way, they would be the New Jersey Sixers. Coming up next, before today's headlines, I'm going to tell you all the football teams that don't play in their city, even though their team name has the city
Do
in
they
front
play
of
in
it.
a different state? Don't give me this city stuff.
Some do.
Do they play in a different state?
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Little Fanatic Friday. Hope everybody is having a safe trip, or I hope you have a safe trip into work today as you get ready to get to your jobs, unless you work from home on Fridays, which a lot of people do, especially during the summer. But I hope you have a safe trip into work today.
My buddy Joe does. He works at home on
The Friday remote, it's a
but he
big deal
travels
for
a
people.
ton during the week.
Okay, so he deserves it.
and he listens to us when he does. So
All right, well, we
thank you,
appreciate
Joey.
it. We have today's headlines with Connor Thomas coming up at 8:05. After that, you'll hear Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse was on the station last night, the Sixers in 60 show. So I'll play that. Can't wait to hear from the head coach. I'm sure he's excited for his new look Sixers roster.
I bet you
that has some nice pieces to it, man.
What do you think he does? First of all, do you think he's a guy who goes and relaxes at the shore or something?
I'm sure he takes some time off.
But I wonder if he's a guy who relaxes. I see him as a guy probably sitting there with the iPad. And
I think
Maybe.
he chills.
you do.
Yeah,
Because
man.
I think he's
He
just.
wears his Nick Nurse brand hat and he sits out there
I-
under
you know
an
what?
umbrella.
By the way, I didn't get one. I want one.
I don't think he wore it at all this year.
No,
I don't
didn't
remember
see-
seeing it.
And
No?
I remember saying on the air the day they hired him, you better not freaking wear that hat. Because I used to clown him for it when he was with the head coach of the Raptors. And maybe, because the Sixers PR staff is tremendous.
They do a good job. They're on
Maybe
top
they
of
were
stuff.
listening, because I know I had people in agreement with me that the NN hat is just crazy.
It's a little presumptuous.
I don't know. Maybe the hat was the missing piece last year.
They
It's a
didn't.
little presumptuous.
No, he wore the hat after winning a championship with the Raptors. I didn't see the hat before the championship with the Raptors. And him not wearing it last year, I think, was a great move. And maybe he was told to not wear said hat
Could be.
because it's a bad look. Like I imagine me
let him
walk-
get a fit
No,
off.
imagine me walking around with an AS hat. Like
Now,
it's
the thing
ridiculous.
is, though-
You
You
know
can
what?
add another S on there. It would be
Another
perfect.
AS, shut
And
up.
then you could have.
You knew it was coming. You set it up.
Okay, now, Connor, would you wear a CT hat?
Absolutely.
I know he would.
I know he would.
He knew he.
Why not?
I don't even know why I have to ask the question.
Come on, bro. Why wouldn't I?
By the way, for your you can't call them the Philadelphia 76ers. Now you're gonna
give me
you're
this.
gonna go state line, but they're
No, I
it's
am,
5
because,
minutes.
yes.
It's 5 minutes apart.
If you give me Dallas, stop the conversation.
Yeah, Dallas.
Dallas and Fort Worth are freaking right next. It's right next to each other.
Okay, so is Camden and Philadelphia.
no, it's
They're
not.
right.
No,
Yes,
they are not.
That's they're a
John,
town
you can
apart.
see it
It's
from
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
You are not- you
and
do
then
not-
Camden. You cross
You
the
do
bridge.
not
It's
leave
Camden.
the state of Texas to go.
Who
You
cares
literally-
about state lines?
You literally drive over a what? Here's the city
You are
line.
coming
You
up
drive
with
over.
something imaginary to make your case. It's
It's
not
like
fair.
saying you're saying like it's Ardmore and Bryn Mawr. Like it's like you drive one block, you're in Ardmore, one block, you're in
You
Bryn Mawr.
drive one block. It's a bridge.
No,
the bridge
you do
is
not.
the block.
That's not a block. That's not. And more importantly, they don't charge you to go from Ardmore to Bryn Mawr.
They charge me every time to come see you.
Well, that is the truth.
I have to pay to come to work.
Well, of course.
That's ridiculous,
you
man.
pay to come into
Okay, let's
Pennsylvania.
go back to the.
By the way,
give us your list.
The Los Angeles Rams and Chargers both play in Inglewood, California.
They play in L.A. That's L.A.
Well, that's Inglewood.
No, it's L.A.
Inglewood, California.
No,
the
that's
Giants
LA.
and Jets both play in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Saying Inglewood is like no one in L.A.
John, you're
says
not
that they.
zoning these counties. It's Inglewood.
It's
No
Inglewood.
one. It's not a county.
San Francisco
town.
plays in Santa Clara, which is
That is
45
big.
miles away.
No, that is a big one, and that's one that is absolutely crazy.
45 miles. This is 45 steps.
In L.A., no one says Inglewood, and that would be like saying Fishtown for you. That would be like saying Fishtown. That would be like saying South Philly, Center City. That's all Inglewood is.
And then the Buffalo Bills, the greatest fan base in sports. Orchard Park, New York.
They play
Yeah.
in Orchard Park.
They don't play in Buffalo.
You know how close Orchard Park and Buffalo
No,
are?
I
Have
don't.
You, well, if you drive it, you're literally talking about going Pale. Again, I'll give you one that you can do. Right here. We're in Bala Cynwyd.
Mm-hmm.
You're driving into Upper Darby.
All right, so Camden, New Jersey.
No.
And Philadelphia.
They don't leave the state. You're being ridiculous.
But you're talking about distance. It's probably the exact same distance.
It doesn't. It's not the same. It is not the same when it's on the
It
same
might not
road.
be the same to you, but John, objectively, it's kind of the same.
New
basically
Jersey
the same.
people are going to find a reason to say, this isn't too bad.
I'm not even saying I want it.
By the way, okay, now someone's
you're poo-pooing it.
Someone's giving me this from the Sixers' own pitch for the Center City Arena.
Okay.
That as far as the fans in the Patco line or people come that they're saying from Jersey, they were in town hall saying it was 70-something% of the fan base, almost 80, comes from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
That's
All right.
so you have 3/4 of your fan. We'll just make
Based
it 3/4.
on what?
This
Public
is the-
transportation?
No, this is what they use the Patco line and driving over. They're saying that 70. They were making the case that 70-something% of the fan base is here. So you're talking about saying, so let's
New
just make
Jersey's
it,
a fake
let's make
Philadelphia
it
sports
three,
fan
Let's make
state.
it three. No, let's make it 3 out of 4. That if it's 3 out of 4 of your business, let's move our business away from 75% and make it more convenient for 25%. No, they're not doing it. This is a fault.
A wise man once said, "If you build it, Ray, they will come."
Ray Dunn?
Yes, Ray Dunn, dude. Ray Dunn will definitely be there. It's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor
What up,
Thomas.
Connor?
Ray will be
goodness.
there, I promise.
Yeah, Ray goes everywhere. That kid has so much vacation. All right, let's
my
talk
gosh.
about something. This popped up on social media. Not a lot going on right now, if you guys haven't noticed in the sports world. But Buddy Hield, who was traded in that sign and trade to the Warriors, he had some commentary about being the best shooter on his team. And I'll let you hear the clip first, and I'll tell you what Sixer took a little bit of exception with
Okay.
it. Take a listen.
Buddy, you're one of the top shooters in the league, obviously, and now you're on the same team as Steph. Right. You remember a time where you had someone else on the roster, like, maybe I'm not the best shooter on this team?
An immediate no.
Really?
Tyrese Maxi quote tweeted that video with a.
Oh, I love it.
Love a
So
little
the
banter.
question is,
I love that.
And he threw the laughing emojis. It's Tyrese, so we know he's not actually like upset with it. But best shooter on last year's team, Tyrese Maxey or Buddy Hield?
Tyrese Maxey.
Tyrese Maxey. Career-wise, I'd still say
It's Buddy
Buddy
Hield.
Hield, but last year it was Tyrese Maxey.
He was asked the question specifically, were you ever on a team where you weren't the best shooter? That was a mistake on Buddy Hield's part because Buddy Hield was a bricklayer. He could have been in,
until
local.
until Game 6.
What?
And then Nick Nurse inexcusably sat him the entire third quarter. The hottest hand on the team did not play a minute in the third quarter. Can't wait to play Nick Nurse in a few minutes, but that was inexcusable.
That was a bad mistake. Rob Thompson agreed with it, though.
What's next?
This is on me
Your
bringing
shots
that up.
Your shots.
Come on, man. All right, next, I know that Johnny Countdown over there has already had some commentary on that and this in our group text that we had. But the Philadelphia Phillies in MLB have already released their 2025 schedule.
Oh, my gosh.
So my question to you guys
John,
is,
you
too
need to start
early?
smoking weed, man.
You do.
I'm
dude.
serious, bro. You need to start. Here I am. It's what time was it yesterday?
I don't know, like 8 o'clock.
It's
It was
7
when it came out, yes.
It's 8 o'clock or whatever time.
Yes.
I'm so relaxed. Cooper's down, right? I'm ready to just nestle in. Right?
You're nestling in.
And I see John breaking down the 2025 Philly schedule. This is bad. I'm like,
is bad.
brother. Hit the pen, man. Like, come on. Take a gummy. I don't. Whatever way you want to do it, brother, because you need it.
Well, first off, you should not be. What is baseball? Baseball cannot get out of their own way.
No, they can't.
They released their 2025 schedule on a day when no one in sports pays attention. And
Well, it was the only thing to see, probably.
only dorks like myself pay attention to it. And so that's what's crazy. And then once again, baseball never learns. You've got the Philadelphia Phillies opening up in Washington in March, then coming home to play the first week of March and April, playing the Rockies and the Dodgers. And then you have the Braves, a warm weather city that's really nice by late March, early April, going to the Padres and to the Dodgers.
Where do you find the capacity to care about this in
That's what
July
I-
of
because it's-
2024?
Dude, even
Well,
April,
first of all, there was nothing-
I won't care in March and April.
First of all, there was nothing to care about yesterday, so my brain will need something to care about. And I look at it, and it's again, baseball can't get out of their own way. Its scheduling is terrible in baseball.
Isn't it like Shark Week or something? Can't we find something
know,
else
is
to
it?
focus
Dude,
on?
when
some
you
more
were
in the
texting us
immediacy?
yesterday, I was like, John, man,
You're kidding me.
you need to find weed, man. Like, come on, like this. It's just, I couldn't believe how much of a reaction you had.
By the
to
way, I turned it down during the my cancer treatments. I did turn down, and I could have had anything I
I'm sure
wanted.
he could. Medical card.
I could have had the Kinkush. I could have had whatever
Your
I
own
wanted.
brand, baby.
I could have had it,
your
whatever.
own brand.
So we have the schedule, though. So if you want to look at the 2025
Look at it.
Phillies games, you can go ahead and check
You can
that
already
out.
start planning your Philly sports trips, Trip.
That
Yes,
is
you
the
can.
coolest part about it.
All right, last thing we got here. We're going to actually do a question from the hat. 'cause
I
we
can't
haven't
believe
done
it's
one
2
yet.
hours and 10 minutes in the show. I mean, we had a lot of discussion
Oh,
today.
here we go. What doesn't deserve the hate that it gets? Very broad question here. Again, what doesn't deserve the hate
The
that it
Sixers
gets?
moving to New Jersey.
Stop it.
Ridiculous.
Pick something else.
What doesn't deserve the hate that it gets?
Oh, wow. What doesn't deserve the hate that it gets?
There could be a billion things.
Yeah, there are a billion things. Oh,
I'll give you one.
The
go ahead.
All-Star
I-
Game uniforms.
No, that deserves the
No.
hate. That deserves. No, it's cooler when
But
you're
you're
wearing
talking-
your actual
It's
jersey.
the same thing.
No, it's
People
not.
obsessing the night before. Oh, these All-Star uniforms are terrible.
They should
worried
wear
about
their own
uniforms.
jerseys.
No, I like that too.
I
But people
prefer
worried
it.
about that is just the same thing as worried about next year's schedule.
I was actually going to go with
Stupid.
something very similar.
What's that?
Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise does not deserve the hate. So many people. I don't eat mayonnaise. I wouldn't touch that stuff.
Yeah.
Mayonnaise is the condiment of the gods.
I'm not a big mayonnaise guy. Now, when you were in the South, when you were below the Mason-Dixon line for college, did you have Dukes?
Nah, dude, that's Maryland. That was 2 hours outside
so you were
of Philly.
just because we are a Hellman's household,
Gotta be.
but Dukes is a lot of people love the Dukes because it has sort of like a soury.
I like all mayonnaise,
It's like
baby.
a soury mayonnaise.
I
Got
mean,
a
you
little
can have
bite
a
to it.
preference. Like, I like Heinz ketchup more than Hunt's. Like, you can
Heinz,
have a preference.
There's no Hunts in our house.
I don't know.
It's Heinz.
No, you
Ketchup's
can-
ketchup, mayonnaise,
Nah, no,
mayonnaise.
it's not.
No, it's not.
It's like a Coke versus Pepsi thing.
Bottom
Like,
line,
you
there's
know.
too many people that are like, mayonnaise is bland. Mayonnaise is great, man.
All right, I will give you my answer.
What is it?
And mine's food related as well. And it's something that I've not had this talking point on Kincade Salciunas. So show number 90.
Okay.
Welcome. We made
Welcome.
it. 10 away from 100 before, unless they pull the cord.
Bob bet the under 100.
We're 10 away from 100. The places that are considered the touristy cheesesteak spots get way too much
that's
heat.
a great
Way too
point.
much heat.
Way too much heat.
Yes.
Because here's the deal. You can have your favorite. Go for it. Have your favorite. Pat's and Geno's, Tony Luke's, or whatever it's called now.
Whatever it is.
Tony and Nick's.
Tony and Nick's, thank you. If they're not your favorite, so be it. Don't tell me they're trash. Don't tell me they don't
That's
taste
a
good.
trash cheesesteak.
I will tell you right now, one of my favorite memories of like with my buddies was my friend Jack, who's gonna have a baby in a couple months. Can't wait for him. So excited for him. We did his bachelor party. We stayed at Live Casino. We were all over the city. And we ended up at Garage on Passion, not your Fishtown spot.
Yeah, fake garage.
Dude, 2:30 in the morning, those lights of Pat's shine. We walk out of the bar, the shining light. It's 2:30 in the morning. I go, oh, I can hear angels calling.
And if you're telling me that doesn't, as they say, hit
It
at that
was
time, you're out of your
freaking
mind.
perfect.
Like, I heard Amy Fadul saying it a few weeks ago about, like, there's certain places like down the shore that you'll find a cheesesteak. I know this is that, again, I've heard people say, and I think Amy brought it up on the air in a conversation with Bob a couple weeks ago, going and hitting up a Wawa. For people will say, oh, I'll never eat like this. A cheesesteak place, I can't get one there. In the middle of the night, people are lined up
Middle of the night,
25
man.
deep
They
at
have,
the Wawa.
and they have
it doesn't matter.
distinct tastes. Like,
Yes.
like Pat's doesn't taste like Geno's. Geno's doesn't taste like Tony Luke's. I lived in Manayunk. I loved Chubby's. Chubby's was across the street
Yeah.
from Dal Sanders. Dal Sanders is the historic place. If I had a taste for one or the other, like I would go, you know what? Today's
Today
Dal
I'm
Sanders
going
day.
this way.
Today's the Chubby's day. Like they have
Cheesesteaks
different steaks.
They're not meant to be snobby food.
No.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
it is cheese
on-
and it is cut steak
Right,
on
right.
a roll. It's
They-
not that complicated.
I'm telling you, food snobs are right there with
Well, some food.
streaming TV versus network. You watch network TV? Oh my God!
Some
There's
food you
nothing
can be
good
snobby
there.
over. I
Yeah,
just think
some-
it's
Yeah, but
funny
still,
that
though,
a cheesesteak is the one you're picking.
Cheesesteak is not something to be territorial about.
Like, look, I get it. You might have your preference, but the way people badmouth certain cheesesteak, oh, that's the touristy spot. Yeah, it might not be my first choice, but like my Sunday, I went to church, 19th and Wallace. My dad and I
Yeah.
often would make
So
the
that's
trip
where
to
you would
Pat's
go.
afterward, like because we were already there.
By the way, you can't beat Joe's. Just me.
Joe's, look, all those places,
Hey.
every single cheesesteak spot
where's Joe's?
is delicious.
Joe's on the corner of Frankfurt and Girard, baby.
See, now Joe's for me is Broomall, and anybody
There you
in
go.
Broomall knows Joe's is the place.
We
to
got
go.
Mama's right down the street from here.
There's like a million places, though, you could eat. To us, we're Lorenzo's in Westchester.
Mm-hmm.
We're Lorenzo's Steaks and Hoagies in Westchester. But but if you're somewhere else and you're 15 miles away, you're not going, well, I have to drive the 15 miles. There's a lot of good
Yeah.
spots.
So that's my answer.
That you can have.
The cheesesteak joints that get way too much heat for whatever reason because there are cheesesteak snobs. It's unbelievable. They're all freaking delicious. All right.
I love that. That's a great answer.
Nick Nurse yesterday on the station, the Sixers in 60 show. Take a listen to the head coach, summer league action, and of course getting excited for the 2024 season.
And we have a special guest joining us right now on 7-6 Live. And it's Sixers head coach Nick Nurse.
Hi guys, how you doing? Spectacular. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Coach, we were just bragging about the presence of your entire front of bench for the regular season at every single one of these games in Utah, in Vegas. Just to start us off, how important is this opportunity, not just for the players out on the floor, but the coaches that are getting opportunity on the bench tonight?
Yeah, it's important, obviously, in their development. I mean, Matt's been a head coach before, but giving him another stage to work on it. Kind of one of the reasons I chose Matt is because he had some head coaching experience, and I knew I had a super busy free agency period and wasn't going to be able to prep too much for the summer league this year.
And we're going to ask you about it, just to be clear.
Yeah, that's okay. And everybody else kind of bumps up. We're giving some of our player development guys chances to run the offense, defense, do the scouts, all those kind of things. And we're also experimenting a little bit, as you can see, with some of the things we're doing out there in summer league.
It was cool to, obviously, you've talked a ton about the way that you utilize the 82 games of the regular season to try things, throw some things away, put others into your playoff toolkit. Matt Brazzi talked about using this the exact same way. Throw things away and then put some things into the regular season toolkit. How much collaboration are you guys doing during these late nights and early mornings that people might not realize are going on at a summer league like this?
Well, you can obviously see we're playing a lot of zone, right? We're playing a good chunk of zone most of the games, right? And that's taking us to, well, we got kind of what we thought we'd start with, and we're constantly tweaking and making adjustments on that, learning what other teams are trying to run, adjusting back to that again. So almost every day, either in practice or the games, we're looking at something in that zone to continue to try to polish and develop and be able to use in the regular season.
And the rookie class is headlined by number 16 pick Jared McCain. When it comes to him and Tyrese Maxi, how can Tyrese help Jared both when they're on the floor together and just in general in Jared's rookie year?
Well, first of all, Jared, one of my favorite things about him is he's got a real great feel for the game, right? He really, plays the game like he knows what's going on out there, and that's super valuable, you guys. I mean, we know he's got the deep shooting range, and he's got lower body strength. He can bounce people and get to the rim, too. But, to answer your question, obviously, Tyrese, one of the first things, he said with both Justin and Jared, he was going to take them under his wing and get them going. And they're good dudes, and I'm sure Tyrese will be able to impart a lot of wisdom to those guys.
When Tyrese joined us for the first game in Vegas on this broadcast at this exact time 2 games ago, he talked about what it's been like to have young players reaching out to him as a veteran and seeking guidance. Obviously, he's still young in his career, but he's entering this new phase. And yep. I say all this to ask about the experience of the Tyrese Maxi Museum that you guys put together to honor him as he heads into this next phase of his career. I know you played sort of a starring role in that whole experience. Can you bring us through what it was like to be part of that? I love that you said it was an honor.
Yeah, no, it was. It was, first of all, it was unbelievable, right? They did a really amazing job, a great team effort by everybody there to put that together. And I go there and obviously got a relationship with Tyrese, but you don't know everything. You're watching film of him as a little kid and seeing all his little awards. And,
all his rebounding awards.
Yeah, he won a rebounding award. I was like, come on, Tyrese, what is this? What camp was this, man? But anyway, it was really cool, special for him, special for his family. It was great to, always just learn a little bit more about him. Obviously, it meant a lot to him. You saw his reaction to it all, and Sixers Nation should be really proud that guy's going to be around for a long time.
Elsewhere in free agency, Paul George, you've talked about how he slots in or how his fit is very good with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. What are some things that do intrigue you about Paul George, the basketball player, with your existing and now almost fully formed roster?
Yeah, I mean, just his versatility, right? I mean, he's a big wing, plays both ways, can handle, can pass, can obviously score. He can post a little bit, really good in the mid. I mean, I could go on and on, right? He's one of those players that you use offensively in every possible way somebody can be used offensively. He handles the screen roll, he'll set in the screen roll, he'll post, he'll bring the ball up, he'll catch and shoot, he'll beat you one-on-one, all those things. So obviously a really good fit with our Tyrese and Joel, kind of at the bookends of 1 and 5, and Paul fitting right in the middle.
Nick Nurse, thank you so much for joining us here at Summer League.
Good to see you guys. Thanks
Really
for having me.
appreciate
Awesome
it.
to have you. Thank you so much, Coach.
See you guys later.
All right, there was the interview of Nick Nurse, Sixers head coach, on the Sixers in 60 show yesterday. Couple of things on McCain. Something that I loved hearing about Tyrese Maxi. I'll talk about that coming up next. Of
I like
course,
that.
Nick Nurse is very excited about Paul George. Why shouldn't he be? And also, coming up next, we've reached the time in the summer where we react to the national media as they start doing their preseason NFL talking points. We did the top 10 quarterbacks list the other day from ESPN. Fox Sports did their top 10 head coach and quarterback duos, specifically Colin Cowherd's top 10. We react to that coming up next. Here where Hurts and Sirianni are. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas, right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Hope you're having a safe trip into work today. Coming up later on this segment, Colin Cowherd ranked his top 10 best head coach quarterback duos. He does this every single year. I'll let you know where Jalen Hurts ranks. But I do want to get into something that we just heard from Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse was on the Sixers in 60 show yesterday. And they started talking about Jared McCain, and he likes how he knows how to play the game, right, which is a big deal. Like, how many times have you heard me talk about Paul Reed? Like, I don't necessarily know if Paul Reed absolutely knew how to play his position. Jared McCain still has a lot to learn. Jared McCain still has to get better. He still has to get quicker. He still has to do a lot of things. He's a kid. But the fact that he knows how to play the game already and he knows how to be in the right spot, and McCain, Nick Nurse mentioned the whole Duke basketball program thing probably helped, even though Coach K's not there anymore. Like, it still helps that you played for Duke basketball. There's a pedigree. So that was pretty cool to hear. But what I really liked hearing, and it's funny, I haven't really thought about this yet, but, man, when you have a roster of just Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey before you sign everybody else, Tyrese Maxey's a vet on this team.
Yes.
And in terms of playing here in Philadelphia, maybe not necessarily age, but in terms of playing here in Philadelphia, and Nick Nurse said that Tyrese Maxey has taken McCain under his wing already.
See, I love that.
And that's great.
I love hearing and Bob got into it a little bit yesterday afternoon, a little bit about McCain and the idea of what are you going to count on him for and everything like that. And as long as the expectations aren't through the roof
they should have
about what you... it looks like at least there's some very much intrigue.
Well, there's expectations, period, which is different than, like, Jaden Springer. When they drafted him, Jaden Springer was like a career 27% three-point shooter. Like, that guy was not ready to play in the NBA. And then the tears that were shed when he was traded, and of course,
that's NBA champion
Jaden Springer. Yeah,
change that.
Jaden Springer's never really going to do much in the NBA, whereas Jared McCain is already showing that he belongs in the league. Just, it's going to take time to get better, and you're not asking him to play 20 to 25 minutes, but, like, Springer played in the G League. Like, McCain's going to be on this roster, it seems. And I like that Tyrese Maxey, who a lot of people are saying they're very similar players, Maxey obviously much better, max contract player. The fact that Maxey's already taking him under his wing and being a good teammate, I love that, man.
Well, isn't that what you heard too, though, as Joel Embiid said, my greatest teammate ever?
Yes.
Like when
always has a smile on his face.
The fondness for what Tyrese Maxey has become is as much for what he's become on the court as what he
now,
needs
Maxey doesn't have to be the personality that he has, and he'd probably still be Embiid's best teammate. He just has to not be a...
yeah, right?
Like, let's face it. Between Ben Simmons and James Harden,
that is the truth.
There really isn't much for Tyrese Maxey to have to do, but he is who he is, and that's what makes it even better. I also love what he said about Paul George. Everything that we already know, versatility, and the guy can score from everywhere. But think about Nick Nurse for a second. How excited do you think he is to have Paul George?
Oh, my gosh.
Forget what we say about injuries and all that kind of stuff. He sees a guy that he can put anywhere on the court and will actually be a factor offensively. He's replacing Tobias Harris, where you could not put anywhere on the court and be a factor offensively.
Just in that, he's so awesome.
Yes.
But also, too, aren't you talking about the fact that this is a guy that you both described as sort of like the perfect fit?
He's a perfect fit, yeah.
And to me, that's got to be with a Nick Nurse. He knows that better than any one of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right. And he's thinking, right now, he's crafting a million things in his head.
They just need to stay healthy. That's what it comes down to, because this is Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George are a perfect fit when it comes to basketball.
I was going to say, like, James Harden and Joel Embiid, if you're looking at just a duo,
they were
are
great.
A perfect fit.
They were great.
But when you add the rest of the team in, like Harden and Maxey didn't fit great. Harden and
Maxey could make work.
Right.
Harden and Harris did not, because Harris was not a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, and then I was called a cookie crumble casual by Tobias Harris himself when I wanted to move on.
No, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
But that wasn't perfect. Like, Paul George fits with the team perfectly.
Look, it's the most excited I've been about the Sixers since the process.
Yeah, because it's the first time you see a team going into a season where it's not, all right, which big star are we going to try to trade for in
and that's what I hated.
November, December, January.
And part of that is on the Sixers organization, that they fell into that mold of constantly star.
Ben
Simmons did a lot with that, right.
James Fultz did it.
But
James Harden did it. James Harden, the reports came out on Christmas Day of the previous season that he wanted to get traded to Houston. That's not the Sixers' fault.
No, it also is that the Sixers were the ones panting after James Harden.
Yeah, but it's very much like my theory on the Eagles and the secondary last year, just the defense in general. For something to go that wrong, it's probably multiple issues, not just the organization, not just the players. It's a whole bunch of things all coming together.
The whole damn team is Jason
I remember
Kelce
when the
said.
James Harden thing happened on Christmas Day, and I made a huge deal about it. And I remember being told by a lot of people that, oh my gosh, what are you worried about? Seriously, it's James Harden. So you worry about it.
Yeah.
It seems like now they've gotten professionals in the building.
Yeah.
There are professionals in the building, and I'm excited about it.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm very excited.
All right, so Colin Cowherd puts together his top 10 head coach quarterback duos. They did 1 honorable mention and 10. So he's like, me and Colin Cowherd, very similar. I had a list of 12 pretty much for our top 10 athletes.
Hey, having worked with Colin for many, many years, I can tell you both follow directions poorly.
Yes, good. All
Do
right,
you also hate my backwards hat?
Scott could tell you
No,
that.
I'm pro backwards hat. That's where Colin and I don't see eye to eye. The good friends that
No,
we
he
are.
doesn't like that.
His honorable mention is Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. Now, again, it's duos. So Kyle Shanahan might be a top 3 coach, but Brock Purdy might not be a top 10 quarterback. So in terms of head coach and quarterback duos, he has Shanahan and Purdy as an honorable mention.
I think Shanahan and Purdy as an honorable mention is fine.
All right. At 10, Dan Campbell, Jared Goff. At 9.
Oh, that's crazy to me.
Well, Dan Campbell's a top 10.
Dan Campbell.
He's a top 10 coach, and Goff's a top 10 quarterback, so they come in at 10.
Okay. I got you.
Again, it's the duos.
The Dan Campbell thing. It's just, okay. It's a way too early to me. Dan Campbell.
Well, and you're going to love this one. Coming in at number 9?
There they are.
No.
No, not Sirianni and Hurts.
Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa.
This
Mike McDaniel love is ridiculous.
The Mike McDaniel love is
it's
to me,
ridiculous,
To me,
man.
it's freaking absurd.
I hate that team.
I do too.
I'm sorry.
I'm rooting against them. Like I root against them. Like Mike McDaniel. Oh, he's quirky. Whoa, whoa. Like
I like Mike McDaniels too, but
no, the love that he's getting is making me hate him.
Exactly.
It's like Sean McVay. Sean McVay, I can tell you, is a great head coach. I hate him because of the way the national media called him basically Andy Reid and Bill Belichick after he coached a preseason game.
Please don't talk about Sean McVay, though, in the same sentence as Mike McDaniel. Sean McVay has a ton of accomplishments.
Yes, he does.
The love for Mike McDaniel is it's absurd.
Coming in at number 8, this is gross.
Oh, no.
Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott.
Oh, my God. Are you nuts?
McCarthy's not a top. Look, again, they're 8th. So that means he thinks one of them is high enough value to move them up to 8.
And
by the way,
McCarthy.
McCarthy stinks.
It has to be Dak. It
has to be.
And by the way, I would have Dak. I have Dak higher than most people.
You do.
So
I think his arm talent's great. I think he just comes up small. But I think Mike McCarthy's a boob, and the two of them are somehow 8th on Coward's list. 7, Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love.
I think that's going to be a great one, but I haven't seen enough yet to say that I think it's going to be a very nice combination.
6, when healthy, Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor. And I think that's a good spot to be.
I do too. When healthy, though, is
and
a big
I'm glad that it's 6th and not 2nd because the ESPN quarterback list, Burrow was 2. Number 5, Sean McDermott and Josh Allen.
I don't agree.
Allen brings them 2-5, I imagine. Sean McDermott weighs him down a little bit, I guess. I think Sean McDermott's a good head coach.
Sean McDermott's not I don't think he's a top 10 coach.
Oh, I think
he's top 10.
I don't.
I believe he's top 10.
You'd struggle to give us 10 coaches better than Sean McDermott in football right now.
If you don't think Dan Campbell's a top 10 head coach,
no,
then
I don't.
Sean McDermott's definitely a top 10 head coach.
Okay.
Coming in at number 4, the new duo of Harbaugh and Herbert, despite playing a game
We don't even know
together.
if they work together well. We don't even know if they in any way mesh, if they in any way work together. But I am also extremely and Connor, I think I found this out about you when I was out and you guys did this.
You guys are pro Harbaugh.
I am absolutely. I think Jim Harbaugh is a fantastic head coach.
I think he's a good coach.
I think he's better than a good head coach. I think he's a really, really good head coach.
We stay in the family at 3, John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. I think
it's
that's
a great match.
Great spot.
And he's always had his back.
Yes.
He's always had Lamar's back. When Lamar takes heat, his coach always has his back.
Number 2, McVay and Stafford.
Great combo.
And number
Wait,
1,
who's won?
Reed and Mahomes. So that means the duo of Hurts and Sirianni do not even get the honorable mention.
You know what?
tag.
I think that Colin Cowherd and his staff did their homework well. Because when you have a quarterback who is completely passive-aggressive to his head coach, and no, he is. He's completely passive-aggressive to the head coach. He goes out of his way to create discord in the public relationship.
Oh, let's see what he does
That's
next.
a smart
Let's see what he
move.
does next week.
Okay, maybe he'll fix it.
He will.
But Colin hasn't seen him fix it yet.
But
I don't think that's what Colin Cowherd's thinking.
We'll discuss this next, and we'll get to more texts. We'll get to questions out of the hat. We'll discuss. Don't even answer. McCarthy and Prescott or Hurts and Sirianni. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade and Salciunas.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. On this Fanatic Friday, I want to let you know about the Fanatic Deal of the Week, an awesome one. The Funplex. Get 2 single-day wristbands for the price of 1 at the Funplex in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, the home of Connor Thomas. Experience unforgettable summer thrills at the Funplex. Each wristband offers unlimited access to indoor rides, Splashplex Water Park, 1 hour of bowling, and select video games. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 97.5thefanatic.com/deals.
That is a day.
They got everything you can need. Now, to be fair, I'm from Hainesport. I want to give love to my hometown, but Hainesport's right next to Mount Laurel, and it's walkable from the house I grew up in, the Funplex.
All right, so I've been chesty about if we did the Kincade Salciunas with Connor Thomas games, I would wreck you guys in a lot of them.
Okay, which games are you talking about again?
Golf cart. Or golf cart.
Go-kart.
I'll tell you right now,
laser tag.
Now, laser tag, you would definitely have an advantage, eh?
I will not win in bowling.
You won't win in bowling.
I might win a round. Bowling is just not. It's something I'm not really great at.
I don't think you'd win bowling.
I would take care of you in bowling.
I don't think you'd win. Me too?
Oh, yeah.
I could say that confidently that I will not win.
In honesty, what is you think your average score?
I'm probably like right around 130, 140.
Okay, well, that's right where I'm at. So I do not, I'll feel confident there that I got a good shot. I'll absolutely go-karts anytime.
Nah, dude.
Anytime.
I'm taking your back right tire out.
Laser tag, you're going to be.
I'm driving dirty, bro.
First of all, I'm not going to give you the Rubbins racing. Exactly.
Dude.
I'm not going to give you that opportunity.
Nah, man. I'm going to drift a little bit.
You're going to be in concussion protocol before that race is over, bro.
I love I love that stuff, and that sounds like a hell of a day. And so grab that deal.
Is the sales staff listening yet about the Kincade Salciunas games? We've only mentioned it like 50,000 times.
Send us to the Funplex.
And what about
stream it? We do our digital content.
Play me mini golf on my home course.
Hey, Connor,
mini golf,
I'll tell you one.
Wrecked.
It's my home course. You don't know that.
I'll promise you, if we choose any mini golf, I'll promise you, Andrew's third.
Nah.
I'll make that chesty bet. You'll die. You might like laser tag. I might as well just skip out the event.
Mini golf's tricky.
Dude. Mini golf, I will tell you that Andrew's third.
A lot of days on the Jersey Shore.
I got you.
A lot of practice. I putt better with the windmill than I do on a green at my local golf course.
You know who's a really good, really fine putter at the station on a real golf course? Well, Ricky's fantastic. Bob Cooney is Bob Cooney has a very, very fine job putting.
Yeah, but with a windmill, you guys are getting rocked. All right. The top 10 coaches and quarterback duo list.
Oh, my gosh.
First, your response to Sirianni and Hurts not being on it. You obviously gave yours because of the potential disconnect that we will still wait and see what the first answer is for Jalen Hurts when we know he's going to be asked about it.
Well, it was a big story around the NFL last year at the end of the year. The offense just fell apart.
Yeah, and he didn't like the direction of it. That was the ESPN story from Tim McManus, and Tim got ripped for it because it was a playoff game. Oh, how could you do this? He's not a fan. He's a reporter. Were there any duos ahead of them? I know how you feel about Campbell and Goff, but you think higher of Goff than a lot of people.
I do, and but it's Campbell that's the holdup on that list for me.
But I mean, when it comes to Hurts, Sirianni, is there anybody they should be ahead of in that top 10? My biggest one is McDaniel.
Well, McDaniel should not be on the list. So that'd be my number one. That's my number one.
McCarthy and Dak should not be in the top 10.
I think McDaniel and Tua is worse than Dak. Yeah, I do. I think Dak is a far more proven commodity.
Mike McCarthy is an idiot.
Yeah, McDaniel.
I'm sorry.
McDaniel is actually.
What has McDaniel done?
He's an innovative offensive mind.
But what has he done? What has it led to?
What
Nothing.
has McCarthy done? Yeah, what has that led to?
He won a Super Bowl thanks to Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, thanks to Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers won that Super Bowl.
Okay, you can do that with every coach who's not a great quarterback.
No, they should have won multiple Super Bowls or have done a lot. They should have done so much more. Green Bay got screwed because of Mike McCarthy, man.
Okay.
He was a horrible head coach.
If you're Mike McDaniel has done nothing. And you could tell me all the innovative offensive mind you want.
I'd rather have Mike McDaniel than Mike McCarthy.
He is in
the battle of the Mike mix. I'd rather have Mike McDaniel.
I would as well.
You can have them. You can honestly have them. I don't want either of them.
But if you
I
had
can
to
tell
pick,
you, the resume is not close. It's not close.
Well, because one guy's been in the league
McDaniel's
longer.
done nothing.
McDaniel's been
He
in
has
the league
nothing.
like,
He doesn't.
3 years?
He doesn't have
Hold on. We celebrate Sirianni going to the playoffs all 3 years.
Sirianni went to a Super
I know,
Bowl.
but he's been in the playoffs both of his years. He's still a young head coach. He's only been in it 2 years.
That's fine. I am not McDaniel.
I don't even like Mike McDaniel, but I'm taking him over Mike McCarthy.
Mike
easily.
McCarthy's not good. He's
Okay.
not good.
And
But he's not. But Mike McDaniel's not done a damn thing.
But if you're asking me to pick one, I'm picking Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, but that wasn't this exercise.
I'm asking you
That's
right.
what
No,
the question
That's what the
literally just
question
was.
is. Who would you replace?
No, I'm saying if you're replacing, I thought you were replacing a duo.
Okay, yeah, a duo.
Okay, so the duo is, first of all, the Shanahan-Purdy thing, that is way too, them being an honorable mention is
Should be in
is
the
a
top
joke.
10.
They absolutely have to be in that mix. There's not even, that's an oversight. And there is, in my mind, I do believe that Sirianni and Hurts should be at the back end of the top 10.
So you would take out
I'm taking out
McDaniel
Dallas,
and McCarthy.
I'm taking McDaniel and McCarthy out.
And you're adding in the Purdy, Shanahan,
Purdy
and then the
Purdy-
Hurts, Sirianni.
And Purdy,
I'm good with that.
I think I'm putting Purdy Shanahan ahead of Detroit, the Detroit combo. Put them ahead. I am.
It's
not a fan.
But this is where it's a hard conversation. So we all agree Shanahan better than Dan Campbell.
Yes.
Goff better than Brock Purdy.
Also,
so
yes.
like it's hard.
Yeah, I think, but I don't think that the Brock Purdy can execute with a great offensive
Yeah, we've
plan.
seen it, yeah.
Brock Purdy can do it. I'm telling you this: Dan Campbell has no clue of what they're doing on the offense. None. Not at all.
I don't think he has a clue.
He's not an innovative. Like it's not.
He plays tight end.
He's
don't
not an
think he has a
innovative
in the
offensive
NFL.
mind. He's not an innovative offensive
But
mind.
I imagine that he played offensively at a position.
think
He would
has-
have an
I think he
idea
has
of
a
how it works.
clue
Okay.
about what's going on in the offense.
Is he any of the reason about Goff? I don't believe so.
No, I think it's
disrespectful to say.
I think the
not a
offensive
clue.
coordinator is the biggest reason why Jared
He's
Goff has
brilliant.
had this resurgence.
He's brilliant. And by the way, Dan Campbell is, and if you've watched them from last year during Hard Knocks, he doesn't interfere with the offense.
Well,
He literally,
you know what?
they literally set it out. He does not interfere.
Don't we want Sirianni to do that?
Yes, and I'm hoping.
So shouldn't
I'm
Dan
hoping it
Campbell be
benefits.
celebrated for that?
No, I'm saying is, but if anybody's giving credit for the combination of Goff and Campbell,
Yeah.
it's not because of Campbell.
I think you're looking too much at the quarterback tied to the coach. It's more just looking at these two guys together. Like who has the best quarterback-coach combo, not together, but like, you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean, and that is a logical point. Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
All right, give us a random question out of the hat there, Connor.
Okay, well, let's go ahead with this one here. Oh, it's a thick one. What's the coolest way to end a sporting event? The best way to win a game? You could go with a whole bunch of different stuff, I guess, like a walk-off homer, a buzzer beater, or I don't know.
I'll give you one. Bobby Abreu did it. A walk-off inside the park home run.
Oh,
Okay, that's
awesome.
wild.
And I remember, I can still hear Harry Callis calling it.
I think a walk-off in baseball is amazing. I think an overtime game winner in ice hockey when your team's relevant is amazing, especially in the playoffs. So to me, a playoff overtime goal, there's nothing better than
but
playoff
the question was
overtime goal.
coolest. So you could have gone
That is the
any
coolest.
scenario.
That's the coolest.
Like the Iron Bowl. It's cooler.
Oh, the kick six?
The kick six
That
is
might be
cooler
the
than an
answer.
overtime goal.
The kick six might be the answer.
Kick six is one of the biggest oddities we've ever seen, and it was awesome.
But it's
It
the
was awesome.
coolest way to end a game.
Hey, man. Hey, don't fault him. You could go stock or you could go something
Go
special.
whatever way you want.
What's
I'm
your
going to
answer,
tell you.
Connor?
Man, I know it's not. It's definitely not the penalty kick to win it. That's why soccer stinks.
It does. It sucks.
I
because of
would
that.
go like a bomb.
Anti-soccer show.
I'd go a bomb walk-off three. Like, you don't even see those hit in regular
Remember when
games.
Embiid almost made that
Yeah,
one?
dude, off the front rim,
Yeah.
like backboard
He,
the
like,
front
threw
rim.
a
So you're saying like a wild.
Because like even like walk-off homers or inside the park homers, every
happen.
once in a while you see those. You
Yeah.
don't see guys attempt those shots unless it's the end of the game, and then when they go in, it's just like. Or
it's a great
there's a
one.
dude who had a walk-off hole-in-one in a playoff hole in golf one time.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's crazy.
That would be
dude.
pretty cool. All right, so we got more questions out of the hat coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. Also, I told you to write these down earlier. I hope you did your homework assignment.
I've got a few, and I've not had 5 yet, but I've got 3, and I'm struggling at that point.
Everybody can have a different answer,
I've
which
seen
is
a
why.
lot, though.
Yeah.
You see, by making it people I haven't
Exactly.
seen, you've really messed with me.
And this is why everybody could have a different answer. And I want people on social media and the text line as well, 610-632-0975. The 5 athletes that you would go pay to see today that you haven't seen yet. So, like, Ohtani is off the list for me because I've seen Ohtani play. Would love to get your answers on that. Kincade and Salciunas, we do that next to start the 9 o'clock hour right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic.
Fanatic Friday. I hope you had a safe trip into work today. I hope you kill this Friday, and then you move on to the weekend.
What do you mean? This Friday has a family.
You kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Yeah, have a good day. Come on, man.
Okay.
You don't have to take everything so literally.
Kill this
all right.
What if there's a serial killer listening?
Coming up this segment, we will reset the entire show and get to more of your text and call reaction. You can check in at 610-632-0975 on today's topics. But I wanted to get into this exercise first. Let's have some fun with this. So I told you guys to complete a homework assignment. And like great scholastic students that we all did it during the break, even though I told us about an hour and a half
I had
ago.
to add the final 2 to my list.
I did all.
Mine's been done for like 30 minutes.
Oh, good for you.
Connor's a good student.
Try hard. The 5 athletes that you would pay to see today. You see the schedule for the Phillies, the Sixers, the Flyers, the Eagles, or even beyond the 4 major sports, and you see a player coming into this city and you go, I'm going to make a case to go there. Remember last year for a lot of people, and I didn't put it on my list because I don't like soccer. I don't lie to you guys. I'm not one of the fraud media people that pretended to care about soccer about a year ago. I didn't like Messi would have been an answer for a lot of people last year.
Yeah, I should have put that.
It's an answer. It's on my list.
And
you
look,
just gave away one of mine.
If somebody texted me, hey, I got tickets to go see Messi, I'd probably do it, but I would not go out of my way to pay to go see Messi.
Even to see one of the all-time greats of a sport.
It's a sport that I don't care about.
Okay. I got to tell you.
I've told you my dad took me to a Sixers game to see Michael Jordan play, even though he was on the Wizards. I love basketball. So, that's totally different for me.
Yeah, this is a violation by you, though. He's an all-time great.
He's so iconic that, and I got that from my neighbor Mark texted me Messi. Okay. And I went, oh, God, he's got to be on the list. I would absolutely.
I thought of him.
I absolutely would say that's worth it.
I don't necessarily care about the sport enough. But trust me, I thought that's why I even brought it up, as we started this segment.
I've got a few of those, by the way, on my list.
So I'll start with you, John. The 5 athletes that you would pay to see that you haven't seen yet. So everybody's list can be different because I've been fortunate to see Shohei Ohtani and LeBron James. The players that are considered the best at their sport, I've seen a lot of them. Especially when I was a cosplayer with the Sixers, I went to a lot of games and got to see a lot of the greatest athletes. But who active would you pay to see? Give me 5 of them, John.
I absolutely would like to see the Joker and Alcaraz in tennis. And I'm not a big
tennis. The Joker, Nikola Jokic.
I'm talking about the best of all time, arguably. And Alcaraz, the best young player, arguably, maybe stat-wise, that's coming along. I would love to see both of those play.
Is that 2 spots or?
That's 2 spots on my list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you have 2 tennis players.
Yes.
That's cool.
And just because I would love to see that, and I think that and I'm not a big tennis guy, but big events like a Wimbledon final and things like that get my attention. Messi was on the list. Joe Burrow.
That's a great one.
I'd love to see Joe Burrow. I want to see Joe Burrow play here in person. But that's in Cincinnati if I go Philly sports trips.
Yeah, there you go.
If I go Philly sports trips, you could do that. And in basketball, it's Wemby. I'm fascinated.
So I saw him.
That
was the 70-point.
I did not.
That was the 70-point game.
And boy, what a night that is! Because you checked that box, and then you also saw the 70-point night from thing. But Wemby's on my list because I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated.
Let me not lie to you. I went to see Wemby that night.
Yeah, and
I didn't go to see Embiid drop 70, and then Embiid ended up dropping 70.
You wanting to see Embiid, though, is just assumed. You're anybody who buys a ticket to a Sixers game partially is going to see Embiid, and Maxi.
Right.
You're going to see that. So that's assumed. But I got you. That's good. That's where I'd be. I'm fascinated by Wemby, and I'm also fascinated by watching his coach turn him into an all-time great.
Yeah. One of the cool things about Wemby, so before he checked in.
Does he look weird running? Because on TV he looks awkward running.
So before he checked in, what he does is he kind of jogs up and down the baseline, kind of like what soccer players do. Before soccer players go into the game, they wear the little penny and they do the sprints. So he was jogging on the baseline, and every time he would go under the net, you know how the net comes out, he would just lift his arms up and touch it every single time. I'm like, that's amazing that he can just lift his arm up and he's touching a freaking basketball net. Unreal.
And because there have been a lot of tall players that have entered the NBA, sort of freakishly tall.
Yeah.
that have turned out to be nothing.
Taco Fall.
That have been nothing.
Yeah.
And to watch him
Be talented.
I'm really fascinated.
And shoot.
Very
and score.
Very fascinated, and I want to see it in person.
All right, Connor, you have 5, and you said you didn't think that we would know one of them.
Yeah. But I was
Wouldn't know
kinda
one of them?
messing with you a little bit. So I'll go through my list. LeBron James is top of the top.
You've never seen LeBron,
Dude,
man.
My brother and I got tickets one time when he was in Cleveland. He hurt his back like 2 days before he was coming.
Plus, he takes nights off, so
Yeah,
like,
and
you
it's,
know.
look, that's a gamble.
This was like prime LeBron
Oh,
before
my
the nights
gosh.
off and everything.
Okay.
Oh no!
Yeah, it sucks.
No,
Patrick Mahomes, absolutely has to be on there.
That's a great one. It has to be on there if you haven't seen him.
Shohei Ohtani.
Yep, I saw
That's
him
a great
last
one.
year.
Never seen Shohei. You're right on one, Andy. Scotty Scheffler.
I knew it.
Now, I would love to say like Tiger would be on this list, but as much as we blamed Colin Montgomery for his comments, like Tiger's not Tiger.
Remember
anymore.
during headlines yesterday when I said he wasn't wrong in what he said?
Yeah, well,
How does first round?
Hey, easy.
Plus
easy.
6?
Don't be hating on my guy.
6
all right?
over?
Don't be hating on my guy Tiger. It's just I wouldn't get the same as seeing a guy who's at his peak right now.
Yeah, it's like me seeing Miggy last year.
If I could play around with one of them, I'd pick Tiger every time. Watching them
gosh.
play around, it would be Scotty Scheffler.
Connor,
Yeah.
if I offered you something like that, not to get off topic, but it's quickly, is that if you're in sports,
Yeah.
you were offered one thing in sports you could do, you have to take part in athletic activity with an athlete. A round of golf with Tiger Woods, I don't know. I think I'd lose my mind.
Yeah, I don't think
I would
there's
lose my mind. I would
anything that I'd take over
absolutely
that.
love that.
yeah, well, because you can actually talk.
Yeah, but I think it'd be
Right.
But I think it would also be like number one on my list.
Yeah, be pretty cool.
It's Tiger.
All right, so that
would be cool.
Scheffler was 2, so who's number 1?
Number one is, well, not really in any particular order.
I went
but,
in order.
Victor Wembanyama is also
You
on
too.
my
All
list.
All right, how about
Yeah.
that? So I've seen 4. The only guy I didn't see was Scheffler. I've seen 4 out of the 5.
That's
It
amazing.
must be nice. Rub it in. Congrats on your success.
Well, no.
Sorry, Braun hurt his back and ruined 14-year-old Connor's life.
Yeah, well, you should have been a process truther. You should have been a revolutionary.
Well, you should have been one of the cosplayers.
The wigs made me
If
itchy.
you were a revolutionary, you would have seen LeBron and D. Wade and Chris Bosh absolutely wreck the Sixers.
Wait a minute. When LeBron came in, it wasn't sold out. And
No, it was, but if you were a revolutionary, they handed you tickets at the end of every game so that you could go to the next game.
did you have a little secret handshake amongst you?
No, they were like, "Who wants tickets?" And you raise your hand, and it was awesome. My ticket said $0 on it, and the guy that sat in front of me paid to see the Miami Heat. He paid like $250 for the seat, and I was like, "Wow, that sucks." I paid $0.
Andrew was like, Melvin, grab me my seat.
I paid $360 round trip on the Broad Street line.
Wow.
All right, my 5.
All right.
I went in order. I'm not a coward. Number.
Well, did you make it 7? Because usually you don't follow directions.
Well,
Oh, no.
Oh, dude, you can't
Seriously,
do honorable mentions on every list.
You ask people to do 5, and then you do 7. It's
no,
so...
I have 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have 5, but I did cross one out and replace it,
Good.
and there was a reason why. But number 5, Ellie De La Cruz. Would love to see him play offensively.
Tickets are plentiful usually to see him.
Yeah, swinging the stick, base running.
Okay.
He's extremely fun to watch. And oh, by the way, a ball in the 5-6 hole, he can backhand it and throw it 110 miles per hour across the diamond and get a runner out at first base. I would love to see that in person. He comes in at 5 for me. Number 4 originally was Justin Jefferson. But I erased it because wide receiver, he might get locked down. I could see Lamar Jackson have the ball in his hand every single play.
Yeah, I've seen Jets before, though.
know-
you should watch Justin Jefferson.
You know what's crazy is? Lamar was the one, Burrow or Lamar.
Okay.
But Lamar would have been on the list if I knocked one of the tennis guys off, but I'd love to see one of the all-time greats and then one of the new greats.
I put Lamar at 4, everything, his athleticism, the way he can throw. First of all, he throws a football on a dart.
Plus, I know he's going to do something dumb at the end of the game to help my team win.
Yeah, but then he also might do something
spectacular
that you go, oh my God, how did he do that?
I've never seen this, yes.
Coming at 3, you didn't have him on the list because you saw him. I put Connor McDavid on there.
And I've seen him. I saw him in Vegas with Pat, and I had a great time.
I would love to see McDavid
my
in
gosh.
person. Number 2, I'm surprised Connor didn't have him on his list because he's like your favorite player in the NBA right now, unless you saw him already with your brother. I'm not sure. Anthony Edwards.
Oh, dude, I've seen it.
Okay, you have seen it. Okay.
Yeah, I watched him give him 50.
Yeah, okay. I have Anthony. I did not see Anthony Edwards. So
He's
Anthony Edwards.
awesome to watch.
I have.
He's awesome to
That's why I
watch.
have him at number 2. And then at number 1, the current GOAT, in football, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I've not seen him play yet, so Patty Mahomes. We both have Mahomes on our list.
And
you have to.
That is a must.
Yeah.
That's a must.
So Ellie De La Cruz, Lamar Jackson, Connor McDavid, Anthony Edwards, and then Patrick Mahomes. That's
Would Burrow have come close on your list?
Yeah.
Okay, so he'd be close.
I love Joe Burrow.
So do I.
He's probably in the 6 to 10 range for me, honestly.
Dude, he doesn't do it for me at all.
Really?
I think he's a great player. I don't really care about going to watch him.
Okay.
He doesn't do anything that spectacular.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, Matt Stafford is a ton of fun to watch.
Sure.
What do you mean, sure? The dude does no-look sidearm throws like Patrick Mahomes, but because Mahomes is more mobile, people basically say Mahomes. Like, Stafford was doing that before Mahomes.
Yeah, he was doing it long before Mahomes.
And he was
doing it at the University of Georgia.
Right, and the problem is he was in Detroit, so he was with
Exactly.
the line. Dude, Matt Stafford is a highlight reel.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem cool to me. Like, when I think of Joe Burrow, I don't think of, like, a cool quarterback.
I can tell you this. I believe Matt
Isn't he literally
Stafford.
called Joe Cool, by the way?
I'm telling you right
that.
now, he's absolutely. I guarantee you, Matt Stafford's cooler than Mahomes.
Well,
absolutely
I'm not talking
cooler.
personality. I'm talking the
okay.
style with which they play the game.
Okay.
Right.
Like, Mahomes is a cool quarterback. Lamar Jackson's a cool quarterback. Like, Josh Allen, to me, would be a cool quarterback to watch. I like guys that are more mobile, that are not just, like, sitting in the pocket, picking apart. Tom Brady was boring as all get out.
Didn't used to just sit in the pocket.
No, he used to run around like a maniac.
Because he had to. Because he had cones for offensive linemen.
A little bit, I guess.
Dude, Matt
I don't know.
Stafford is a
But we're
highlight.
also talking about current Matt Stafford.
Okay. Yeah,
yeah, that is the
two
truth.
steps away from NFL death's
Well, that's
door.
why I don't have him on my. Well, no, we've been saying that for 3 years, and he keeps on proving everybody wrong.
Yes, exactly.
That's why he's number 2 on that list of quarterback coach duo with Sean McVay. All right, let's get back to our main topics. The Phillies. What is sustainable from the first half? What is not? A lot of it had to do with pitching for us, right? Like, and it's no fault of their own that they were historic in the first half of the season. That's going to be hard to maintain in the second half.
Do you think that they're I believe that what's sustainable, I think we haven't seen the rampage yet.
With the offense?
The 2.5 week rampage, and it's coming. It's coming.
We've seen it for individuals.
We've seen it for individuals, and we've seen it for the team on a short period of time, like a 2-game stretch or a 3-game stretch. The rampaging offense, I think it's coming. I think we're going to have a 2-week run where our jaws drop. I just don't know when it's going to come, and because some of the competition is going to make it a little more difficult to have that.
Yeah. Now, by the way, I wanted to bring this up. Credit our man Colin Newby, who does a tremendous job
He
here at the
does do a
station.
great job.
He posted this yesterday. If Trey Turner stays healthy, and we hope that he does, and has the same at-bats per game pace that he's on right now, he'll qualify for the National League batting title.
And he'll also potentially make himself a better MVP candidate than Bryce Harper.
He could. And remember, before the season started, we ran through some of those prop bets, and we were wondering if Trey Turner could win the batting title.
I was just hoping that we'd see the rebound year, and we've seen
more than rebound.
Exactly.
We've seen a quadruple double.
I wouldn't have had the guts not the guts, but you should have put a flyer on it, and I didn't.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I did.
The problem with Trey's MVP case is he's either not going to have the power numbers to be in the conversation, or if he does, it'll probably come at the expense of the average.
Right, and I'd rather that not be the case. I'd rather him get on base, let Bryce Harper and Alec Boehm knock him in like they've been doing all season.
Okay,
all season
if he doesn't hit 30-some home runs, he's not going to be in the MVP conversation.
Right.
Yeah. That's probably going to work.
That's baseball today.
But you know what's funny is, if you tell me right now that he gives you the production he's been doing, he's healthy the rest of the year, and he gives you close to the production he's been doing, he'd be the team MVP.
Well, if Bryce Harper wins league MVP.
No. What I'm telling you is he could win league MVP, and I'm going to tell you that I would believe Trey Turner would be the team MVP.
I think
after missing a month?
It's because of that. Is that remember, we're taking the month, we're saying to just to sustain it there. Trey Turner's been the best consistent. He has been the best consistent player on the team.
If a guy on your
how
team
can
wins.
you win team MVP or league MVP and not be your team MVP?
I thought we're taking the 6 weeks. We're not assuming the 6 weeks. If you look at it, look. He got injured and he got out for 6 weeks, so you can't look at it that. What I'm saying is, we took the 6 weeks out. He'd be the MVP. That 6 weeks is going to be the only thing that screws him, because he's been so much consistent. He's been utter consistency.
Harper's hitting 301.
He has been fantastic.
It's not like he's hitting 265.
No, but Turner's been. You don't have to trash someone else to pause to get. No, but it's
we're not.
No, but I'm
trashing
yeah, but you're
anyone.
depicting it like
John,
I am.
We're asking you why a guy can win National League MVP
I
and
didn't
not
say
be the
he
MVP
can't,
of his
Connor.
team.
You didn't listen again.
No,
I said
that's exactly
we're
what you
taking
said,
the
John.
6 weeks out. I said we take the 6 weeks out.
Okay, still.
There's nothing you
I
can
don't care.
do.
You can take any weeks
Connor,
out. If
he's
Bryce
not
Harper
going-
wins National League
Connor.
MVP, he's the MVP of the Philadelphia
Connor,
Phillies.
he's not going to win. But the 6 weeks, if we just said, if he hadn't had the 6 weeks.
I'm not saying you're saying he's
been their
going to
best
win.
player.
I'm saying either way you're incorrect. If Bryce Harper wins National League MVP, he is the MVP of his own baseball
What I'm
team.
saying to you is if the 6 weeks came into it, he absolutely could have been. He absolutely could have been.
I'm telling you, it makes no difference.
Okay, that's fine. But the 6 weeks is just, I know it's not going to happen. I know he's not going to be the team MVP, and I know he's not going to be the league MVP because the 6 weeks happened. And let's hope nothing happens to Bryce Harper.
No.
Let's hope nothing happens to Harper.
All right,
Light the candles right now for Harper.
Our second topic was the story that came out that the Sixers could potentially move to Camden, New Jersey. Even though we don't think it's likely, it was a story that came out yesterday, and we have been reacting to it all day today. So, Connor, what do we have on the text line? You can text in, you can call in 610-632-0975.
Yeah, so we have a couple check-ins here. One here on the Phillies trade conversation, actually, that they want to bring up. And they say, when you get on the topic of Phillies trade targets, can you ask Andrew about Randy Arozarena? He was apparently put on the trade block yesterday. He would be one of my favorite targets. His stats this year aren't great, but
They're
starting
down.
to heat up.
Look, that guy
put the All-Star game.
Who says he's on the trade on the block?
A lot of reporters.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. He might.
But someone from the organization said it, or people are speculating it?
I mean, the Rays are probably going to sell.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in a stacked division. They got no shot.
Yeah. And, look, they took a bit of a hit for their future plans when their shortstop was a creep. So,
oh, my God. He's total. And by the way, they finally are charging him.
Yeah, so their building kind of took a bit of a hit. No, by the way, let's not act like they're not the Marlins, who just have a great farm system and then they don't sign. Like Zach Eflin got the highest contract in Tampa Bay Rays history. And it's not like Zach Eflin got paid $300 million, right? So he is on the block by a lot of reporters that cover Major League Baseball. I mean, he'd be a great outfielder to have. I know the numbers are down this year, but I talked about George Springer earlier this season.
Yeah.
Numbers are down, but this is a guy that has postseason pedigree. Randy Arozarena has postseason pedigree, and my God, would he be loved in this city?
Oh, my God.
I've talked about Jazz Chisholm and how he would fit in this city right away. Randy Arozarena fits in this city right away.
Okay, both of you make the deal right now. Tell me what I'm giving up.
Well,
It's not going to be. I don't think it's Miller.
No,
I don't think it's one of the two.
It's not any of your top three prospects.
You don't really?
Nah. No, you'd probably be looking at like Cava may move.
So who cares?
Well, then sign me up all day long.
Well,
I don't know.
thing.
I'm not sure that I buy your premise though.
Here's the issue with Arozarena. He's going to play left. Okay. So you would still need to figure out, just like the Brett Rooker situation, you're still playing musical chairs in center field to figure out how that works.
And I've told you, I do Marsh and Rojas as your platoon. Even though I'd rather.
I'm fine with that, and I'd much rather have Rojas in center. But I'm fine with that if you're making that the deal. They're platooning center. I'm fine with it.
But
you tell me I
Arozarena,
got him. Oh my gosh,
I'm intrigued. Definitely.
I'm very intrigued.
All right, what else do we got? Oh, okay, never mind. By the way, quick update. I just saw a tweet. American Delta and United all say they've begun restarting their operations.
Okay, good.
This was as of 20 minutes ago. Obviously, oh my God, 2,600 plus flights were delayed and rising, obviously, because now they have to.
Now they start delaying all the ones after it.
And 1,240 flights have been canceled.
Oh my gosh.
And rising. So a tough day for anybody that's been traveling. Sorry, the Microsoft outage definitely screwed a lot of people's plans up, especially on Friday, right before a weekend. How many people do you think were traveling somewhere during the summer?
That's brutal.
That sucks. But it looks like flights will start to resume soon, not just here in Philadelphia, but across the world. It wasn't just the United States. It was all over the place.
That's terrible for people.
All right, we continue getting your reaction on all of our topics today. You can text it. You can call in 610-632-0975. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Friday morning right here at 97.5 The Fanatic.
lobster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
It is 9:29 on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Guys, don't forget, coming up on Tuesday. So I've been telling you about this for like 3 weeks now, but it's finally next week. Tuesday, July 23rd, 9 a.m. It's a little bit before this time. We give away FanFest tickets, online ticket raid for FanFest, presented by our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. It's Saturday, September 28th, but the ticket raid is next Tuesday, July 23rd at 9 a.m. All right, we'll get back to the phones and the texts in a second, but John told me, Connor, that a listener of ours has a dilemma right now, and John is the only one that knows the dilemma. I was not told it. You are going to find out about it
and
live
you guys
on the
got to
air.
give them this advice, and the listeners should speak up too.
I'm great with dilemmas.
Okay, Simon and Kathy. First of all, Simon and Kathy.
I thought that was a band.
No, he goes by Stu.
Oh,
but he's Simon.
Okay,
is his name. Simon and Kathy are celebrating their 10th anniversary this weekend.
Oh, congratulations!
Congratulations to them. They both listen, though Kathy not as frequently.
Okay.
So he DMs. They got the alert this morning.
Yeah.
Their flight's canceled.
Oh, that sucks.
Okay, now here's where it gets thick. Their flight's canceled to Pittsburgh. They're going to see, for their 10th anniversary, they're going to see 2 Phillies games this weekend in Pittsburgh.
When's the first game?
They have games, they have tickets for tonight, and they have tickets for tomorrow
Get in the
night.
car.
That's what I said. Now so I said to them, I said, you can get in the car and you can drive to Pittsburgh in 5 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, they're in Glenside. So they're in Glenside. They could be there in 5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have non-refundable airline tickets.
Okay, then fly somewhere else.
What do you mean?
Like, can you put it
flights
towards...
are can't, like...
No, I know, but I'm saying in the future, can you put it towards part of another flight?
Like,
I think it's non-refundable. I think it's either, when you buy the cheap airfare, you either go on that flight, you can't transfer it to something else.
Well, the flight's canceled, so then there has to be something.
No, but they'll reschedule you on another flight to get you to Pittsburgh.
Right, they'll find out.
They're not
like
going to say, I want to go to Florida. No, you don't do that. So I said, then eat the price of the tickets.
Yeah, I mean, look, that sucks.
It sucks, but you have to just get in the car and you got to go. You got to make the decision right now to pack up. You already have your bags packed, I'm sure, because they were heading to the airport. They were on like a 10:45 flight, which had to be like a half-hour flight. I don't know.
It's not
maybe an
a
hour
long flight.
So just make the decision now to get in the car. You'll be there in plenty of time for tonight's game.
Well, right. Your 10th anniversary is to go to Pittsburgh to see the Phillies play the Pirates. Your 10th anniversary is not to get on a plane.
Correct. So
the plane was to get you to the location. Unfortunately, yeah, you're gonna lose money, which freaking sucks.
And I've assured him. But if there's not a terrible accident on the way, like as far as blocking your road,
yeah.
If you leave at 11 o'clock, you'll be there by 4:30.
Right.
Plenty of time for tonight's game. He said their hotel's in walking distance to the baseball stadium.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
You gotta go. Get in the car and drive right now.
You already paid. You eat the cost. You're getting to Pittsburgh anyway. It's not like you're now driving to Alabama. You're driving to Pittsburgh.
Right. Now, they say they think they could get on a later plane today. They've already heard from the airline. They think they could get on a later plane today that would get them to Pittsburgh, but it would be during the game tonight.
Nah,
drive. You can't do that. Just drive now.
Yeah,
You'll see both games. Go do it. And look at it as a loss. Look at it as a terrible loss.
Or if you want to drive to Fishtown, I'll buy you each tequila soda. Well, of course, nothing
there we
high
go.
Shelf.
That's a great thing.
Celebrate your anniversary.
A happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. That sucks. I'm sorry that happened, but you drive because
you got to drive and you got to make the decision right now.
If you drive now,
just go right now. You'll make 5 hours. 5 hours at the worst. And if they leave their house, their bags are packed. If they leave by 10:30. They'll be there in the middle of the afternoon. They'll get there in plenty of time.
They'll be able to go
have a
somewhere
nice
to
meal.
eat. Yeah,
a drink,
exactly.
A couple good drinking spots right outside the park. It's so much fun. It is a great stadium. Go, and you got to go right now, though. Just go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just
go. Well, happy anniversary.
Good, happy anniversary.
Sorry that happened.
Simon and Kathy, happy anniversary.
At least it's not to Chicago, and it's not to L.A.
Right. Exactly.
It's,
you got to look at the bright side.
This can be fixed easily.
Right,
so
absolutely. All right, let's go to Slick Rick. He wants to get into the conversation about the athlete you pay to see. What up, Rick?
Good morning, fellas. Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
What
Thank
up,
you,
Rick?
buddy?
My question is, it is 5, right? Is it one athlete or is it 5?
No, we did 5.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, with number 5, I'm going to say John Morant. The ironic part is I actually was front row in D.C. at the phone booth, and he sat out that game. He was like a late scratch.
it
And I
sucks.
saw like the backups. It was the end of the year. Yeah.
John Morant?
John Morant's a great. He's a great answer. He's another Anthony Edwards, like the exciting style of play. All right, who else?
I have Connor McDavid.
Yep.
I've seen hockey games, but I think that on TV he's phenomenal. It seems like he just gets circles around people.
Yep.
And I love to be like right there.
Absolutely. Who's 3, 2, and 1?
I have the new guy, Paul Skeens, man. It looks like he's striking everybody out on TV, and I like to be there, just see people swinging and missing all day long, and like see that in person.
Okay.
I have Shohei Ohtani.
Yep.
Okay.
It's sweet swing, man. It's sweet swing, and hopefully he'll be back pitching.
And he
soon,
loses every time he plays the Phillies,
Yeah,
so
so
it's
you
great.
get to see your team win too. All right, who's number 1, Rick?
Oh, my goat, Pat Mahomes, man.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a great list, Rick. It's a great list. Thanks for the call, man. Skeens we all would have had on. I made sure to have him off the list. Our own Dylan McKinnon, not listening closely when we said he wouldn't be on anybody's list, and he said Paul Skeens.
Dylan McTrollan didn't even listen to us?
He didn't listen, man. Unbelievable.
Come on, Dylan.
Hey, leave Dylan alone. He's a busy guy.
John Morant's a spectacular answer. I'm guessing Morant's playing this year.
Maybe. Depends how many Instagram lives he has.
It's just a shame because he is extremely, extremely talented.
Yeah.
And I know last year some of it had to do with injuries too, right?
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, if he's not being frisked, too.
well, I know.
Just make sure there's a metal detector.
Just stay off the IG, bro. Like,
Man.
stay off the IG.
Maybe, you know what's his? John Moran is the modern-day Michael Vick in hanging out with the wrong people constantly, but sometimes you're the wrong people.
Well, I don't think we can go that far.
No, it is.
I mean,
He's
Michael Vick went to prison for multiple years.
No, but he said also hanging out with the wrong people
Sure.
can drag your life down. It has destroyed, it's helped to destroy a lot of his professional
I
career.
get your
hold on a
point,
second.
but I don't think it's the right.
As you just mentioned, John Morant could be his own worst enemy.
No, that's what I
He's
said.
the one flashing
but
the
I said-
gun on the
No, but that's
Instagram
what I
account.
said. But I said sometimes it is to me, it is you. Sometimes you're the reason. Sometimes you're the wrong people, and that's why I said it. Michael was the fun, was the funds for all of his bad crew. He was the guy paying all the bills for all that crew, and he wasn't the instigator of the dogfighting, but it got him into federal prison. He's the one they went after.
Right.
'Cause he wrote the checks.
By the way, I want to thank Tristan Holman for this.
Thank you, Tristan.
He tagged you in it, so I'm surprised you didn't bring it up. Inglewood is 20 minutes away from L.A.
It's L.A. No, Inglewood is L.A.
20 minutes. I believe South
No,
Philly
it's not. No,
is
no, no,
closer to Camden.
You just made an incorrect statement. Inglewood is not 20 minutes from L.A. Inglewood is in L.A.
Okay, well, if there are parts of Philadelphia that are further
20 minutes
than,
apart. Like North Philly
Right.
is 20 minutes from the Temple University's 20 minutes to the stadium.
Okay, but you go like far up north, or you go like over here by City Line Ave. It probably takes you a good, 30 minutes. Sometimes if there's traffic, 35. You could probably get from the current site of the Sixer Stadium to the proposed site in Jersey.
It's not
faster
a-
than you can
it's
get to
not
other
in the
parts
same
of
state.
Manayunk to the sports complex.
Can be 40 minutes.
Oh, my God. It's horrible.
It can be easily. It can
Horrible.
absolutely be that.
And you take the train, you get there in no time, but problem is if you go with your wife who's never on time and then you miss the train, then you're like, all right, looks like we got to
Okay,
drive.
that sounds personal. That sounds personal.
It's absolutely personal. Do we have at least one text on the text line, Connor? You can text the show, call the show 610-632-0975.
Yeah, we do. Hang on, let me just pull it up real quick. We have a check-in here. Hang on here from Andrea. And so she's checking in on the Scott situation, or the Stu situation.
Okay.
Right, Simon. That's
Right,
what-
Stu and Simon, yes.
She says, absolutely no dilemma. Get in the car and drive. I'm pretty sure that you can make it there within time, and it would be silly to waste the tickets to the game just because you're waiting for a later flight.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, I have not heard back from them what they're doing. They're going to make their decision here, so when they give their decision, they will get
Now,
there.
the one big thing is it's a long drive back, whereas...
Well, they
you
drive
would
back
have the
Sunday.
quick-
They don't have tickets to the Sunday game.
No, I know, but you would have the quick flight home,
I got you.
which is nice.
I think by the time you get to an airport, get on it, sit around waiting for your plane, fly home, and everything, you could be. It'd be a 3-hour process minimum.
That's true.
So it's not a bad drive either. It's a really beautiful drive. Get in the car and have a great 10th anniversary.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right,
awesome.
so we got the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3, our 3 best minutes from today's show coming up. We also have our crossover with one Bob Cooney. Bob Cooney's been doing the show with Ray Dunn all week.
It's been a really entertaining listen.
They've been fantastic. So make sure you listen to them coming up at 10 o'clock. And, of course, the best show ever coming your way at 2 o'clock as well. We have a meeting today. We get to see the best show ever.
The
I haven't seen
best
those guys in
show ever.
forever.
I know.
Are we? We're not walking into an ambush, right?
No,
you guys settled the war.
A peace treaty was signed.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
I don't
nothing
know.
like that.
And it lasted about 2 days until people started asking for the peace treaty to be ripped up.
This is what I'm worried about.
but
it was
it wasn't. It was from
listeners.
outside forces.
I understand, but sometimes
wanted to cause
you two can be
dissension.
influenced by outside forces.
Because the outside forces want to see chaos. They love the chaos.
I'm the force of balance here, so I
but the
want to make
peace-
sure
no,
that you
peace
guys
treaty-
aren't
peace
going to
treaty
be
is
fried.
fine.
We're screwed then.
When have I ever started
if you're
something?
balanced, but if you're balanced,
I think I
you're-
am the balanced guy on this show.
I think you're crazy. I think you're nuts.
Well, we'll see the best show ever today in office in a couple hours.
There we
It's
go.
just tremendous. All right, Key 3 coming your way next. Also, with Bob Cooney right here. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Birds Insider Report.
baseball trivia, and he's
Dylan McKinnon started in the hallway.
He's trying to get me, and I'm thinking about it, but you gave me 12 seconds to think about this.
We'll take a little bit more time.
Did you get it right away?
No, nobody got it.
In 20, and all right.
Okay, what is it?
It was. Give it to everybody listening.
We're number 5. He spent a couple years in Seattle with the Mariners, spent some years in Toronto with the Blue Jays, came to the Phillies in 2017, and then went back to Toronto. Had a 9-year MLB career.
So I have a guess.
It's not Jose Bautista. He never played in Seattle.
Oh, no, never did.
Is it Mike Sweeney?
No, but you have the initials correct and the first name correct.
All right, I got to think about this during the Key 3. It's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
The Phillies are back in action.
Michael
tonight.
Saunders.
It feels like it's been forever. It's crazy. The All-Star break during a 10-year playoff drought is welcomed.
I had to say it on the air so you guys heard.
During a Phillies season where they're setting franchise records is aggravating and disappointing because you want to watch them. You miss them. You love watching them every single night, no matter who's on the bump, from Zach Wheeler to Christopher Sanchez to bullpen games. It doesn't matter. You want to see this Phillies team play every single night. That's how good they've been this year. That's how much fun they've been this year. But we want to get into a conversation of what was real and what was not so real during the first half of the season, or what can sustain, because I think that's been a question that we've had a lot as the season's progressed. Can this be sustained? This kind of success by the starting pitching, this kind of success with the lineup, this kind of winning. So we'll get into that today, but we're going to get into it today. What was real and what was not during the first half of the season?
And again, this is not a negative topic.
No.
It is not we're not expecting things, but I will tell you right off the bat, and some may take it negative, there is no way the first half pace can be sustained.
What, a 65% win percentage?
There's no way it can be sustained, not with the schedule they have, the challenges that they've got. No, I do not believe that first half pace, that doesn't mean that 6 out of 10 wins can't be sustained.
Right.
And I fully expect 59% wins or something along those lines. But sustaining the first half pace, it's unrealistic. And honestly, I hope they don't have to. I hope they have the ability to say, if they want to go to a 6-man at some point, rotation. If they want to say, hey, we're going to skip Wheeler or skip Nola during a time, that they have the luxury to do so. And we wake today with a magic number of 59.
Unbelievable.
Which is unreal. The resume is not close. It's not close.
Well, because one guy's been in the league
McDaniel's
longer.
done nothing.
McDaniel's been
He has nothing. He doesn't.
3 years?
He doesn't have
Hold on. We celebrate Sirianni going to the playoffs all 3 years.
Sirianni went to a Super
I know,
Bowl.
but he's been in the playoffs both of his years. Still a young head coach. He's only been in it 2 years.
That's fine. I am not McDaniel.
I don't even like Mike McDaniel, but I'm taking him over Mike McCarthy.
Mike
easily.
McCarthy's not good. He's not good. But Mike McDaniel's not done a damn thing.
If you're asking me to pick one, I'm picking Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, but that wasn't this exercise.
I'm asking you
That's what the question
That's what the
literally
question
just
is. Who would you replace?
No, I'm saying if you're replacing, I thought you were replacing a duo.
Yeah, a duo.
Okay, so the duo, that's an oversight. And there is, in my mind, I do believe that Sirianni and Hurts should be at the back end of the top 10. I'm going to tell you this. I would rather get to the postseason with a fresher bullpen than a fresher rotation.
I completely disagree.
I want both.
No. I want both. I want both, too.
No, but I
By the
think...
way, drop it,
No,
Don.
but this-
Seriously,
I absolutely-
I think that's been a problem with the Phillies the last 2 years. I think the bullpen has been fatigued come playoff time.
It's been overused.
Especially when there have been planned outings, which they've worked in the game itself, where Suarez would pitch 3 innings, then the bullpen would go the next 6, right? And it worked. But then later down the line, they may be a little bit more fatigued. Now, it looks like the rotation might be fatigued. You don't want to be down 2-0 early on, John, especially in the playoffs.
You don't, but I absolutely believe we have seen example upon example where teams did not have superior starting pitching, but have had incredible matchup bullpens.
Yeah.
And I think this bullpen could be an incredible matchup bullpen come September and October.
Believe it or not, there are people that are Philadelphia sports fans that live in South Jersey. I know that might sound confusing because it's 2 different states. If they were to move to Camden, I know it's going to drive people crazy. If they move to the Fashion District, it's going to drive people crazy.
Now that be done.
If they move to Broaden, Oregon, it's going to drive people crazy. People don't like change. That's one of the biggest bees for people, is that people don't like change for something that won't happen for 10 years, by the way. Like, it's not like this is happening tomorrow. This will happen 10 years from now. If they move to Camden, the one thing that I will point out, we clown the New York football giants and the New York Jets were playing in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Correct.
So we would be hypocrites if we said, oh, well, it's all good that they play now in New Jersey. Is it the end of the world?
No, it's not the end of the world, but it is absolutely, it would be flat out freaking stupid. It's stupid.
Flat out. All right, that is the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3. 3 best minutes from today's show. If you heard me yelling over the Key 3, Michael Saunders.
That was excellent
is
work
the
on
answer.
your part.
Great poll.
The reason why I said Mike Sweeney, he used to play for the Mariners, came to the Phillies, and wore the number 5, but he was not an outfielder. That was the biggest.
You and the
miss
numbers
there.
are pretty good, too.
I'm good with jersey numbers. I'm not good with faces. Clearly, with Dylan's Instagram videos, I don't know people's faces, which means I don't know ball, apparently.
But you know Bob Cooney's face.
By the way, the WAR stat that we talked about a lot, Ryan Howard's career WAR 14.7, Mike Sweeney's 24.8. So that means Mike Sweeney is
a much better
baseball player than Ryan Howard. That's why that stat is stupid. Good morning, Bobby.
Oh, good morning, boys. How are we?
How are you?
Well, thank you.
What do we got on the program today?
Nothing. There's no sports going on, so it's kind of just boring.
Well,
I don't
there was
believe
that
you.
story yesterday about the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, that's crap. I don't.
You think
I don't.
a false flag story, right?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, one of the things that was failed to be mentioned in the story is that 3/4 of the owners have to approve it.
Of the league owner.
I got in touch with somebody in the league, and it ain't happening.
Do you think it's a story just to try to create a little false leverage?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Somebody wants to get this thing moving a little bit quicker and stuff like that.
The mayor's going to make her official vote, I heard, before mid-August?
I thought the mayor. Now, I don't live in Philly, so she doesn't really affect me. Did she make it that workers had to go back into work?
All of them.
Did anybody listen?
Yeah, they're all back.
They are, because traffic was lighter this week than any other time I've ever seen.
Well, maybe Friday's different.
I don't know if they're all back. I saw a guy on Channel 6 say, I can't go back because I don't have child care.
There were 2 people crying on the news the other night that actually went back to work, and they had them, and they were being interviewed, and they were crying about going back to the office.
Oh, when I used to work with you, I used to cry on my way in all the time.
Here, I can give you some.
Yeah.
I can give you some content for the show. A conversation.
We have conversation.
All right, good.
But what do you got?
Diana Rossini just had. She's now with The Athletic, so she launched a new podcast. She talked more about the Hurts and Sirianni disconnect that was all season long last year.
Oh,
even when they were 10-1.
Did it have anything to do with the incompetent offensive coordinator?
I think it had a lot to do with the offense. Period.
Okay.
Guess what? You ain't getting rid of Jalen Hurts anytime soon, so Sirianni better.
2 creams, 1 sugar. Mike Johnson will have a very successful
Brian Johnson. Brian, you at least respectfully say his first name correctly. I know he's not
Mike's
OC anymore. Ray, so any guests today?
We'll see. Yeah, we're working on it. A couple of the guys had to cancel. Whoa, a couple of guys had to cancel because of this this
outage,
IT thing, and now travel's all messed up, and guys have to get on planes when they didn't think they were going to have to. So, we got good Eagles stuff today. Obviously, looking forward to the Phillies. We might do win-loss for 2025 Phillies.
Yeah,
we're up to 93, game 93. So, we'll work it out.
Are you going to do a little every hour?
Probably, just to carry through the show. But we'll have
the
fun
longer
today.
segments, the 21-minute segments, you do the Phillies.
Yeah, Ray wanted to talk conspiracy theories in sports, but I shot that down. So I don't know what we're going to do.
Was
We'll
there
see.
a mystery shooter?
That could have been.
Could have
That was
been.
me.
You never know. All right,
boys.
Bobby, we'll be listening.
Hey, join our generous partner, the Davis CPA Group. Ron Davis, we love you. Sixers season ticket holder in Jersey.
See?
And make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it today at 975thefanatic.com/AACR, because cancer research saves lives.
Everybody have a great rest of your Friday and a fantastic weekend.
Have fun at the beach.
Oh,
I'm going to New York tomorrow.
You
Have fun,
enjoy
too.
yourself. We will talk to you on Monday. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5.